am now becoming the strongest proponent for the driverless cars, so long as those driverless cars are set to drive the way that I do, which is to pay attention, compensate for the idiocy and the lack of attention being paid by other drivers, in addition to clearing the zone, getting on about your business, getting on the way.
Yeah, it's annoying. I mean, it's beyond annoying, but I thought for sure that you were going to be really, really late to work today. So I'm very glad that you're here, and I have to stop.
Well, I had to go up on two wheels like the Dukes of Hastert, but I got here.
But I was calling your name. I was trying to warn you.
Dan! Dan! Dan, we're leaving!
Why are you letting Peyton and Eli play in traffic? Because that's not your voice.
No, it's not.
They shouldn't be walking up and down the Kennedy looking for me. I'll be fine.
I wanted to make sure you're okay.
Yeah. Now, this was the punishment I paid for staying up to watch the Royals-Mets game.
Oh, isn't it great? I watched until the fourth quarter, until there were...
The fourth quarter?
Did I just say fourth quarter? Fourth inning, excuse me. I was thinking basketball Bulls, LeBron James.
Yeah.
Fourth inning until there was technical difficulties, and I gave up.
Yeah, well, then they switched over to the MLB broadcast, and it was seamless.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10 innings after that, the game ended with a sac fly, and the Royals won, of course. I mean, it's just watching that game... I think
we stop it.
Well, I just think Cubs fans owe me an apology because we're seeing great baseball because they're not in the series.
It is good baseball.
And so, I apology accepted, Cubs fans.
We're not apologizing to
it's
you.
Fine.
That should have been our game, but if it was our game and we were playing in it, we might have lost.
There was an inside the park home run in the first inning.
First inning.
There was a tying home run in the ninth inning. Alex Gordon for the Royals.
And Granderson did well for the Mets, though.
He's
there, Chicago. He's from Blue Island, Illinois.
He is.
Support him.
He had a homer and a couple of nice catches, too. And then Bartolo Colon.
Oh, yeah, the old guy.
The everyman. Bartolo Colon, who is twice
him.
as old and 3 times as wide as the entire Mets starting rotation combined.
Can you imagine how big he's going to get after baseball? I mean, if this is him working out right now.
For Bartolo Colon, chocolate malts are a performance-enhancing drug.
Hey, I like that.
I got more. I was tweeting to keep myself awake during the game. Yeah.
Well, the big question tonight, are you going to watch the third GOP debate or Game 2 of the World Series?
Well, if our bosses are listening, I'm going to say the debate.
You're going to watch? Yes, Dan.
You're going
to watch the debate.
I'll just cut and paste whatever Chuck Krauthammer says about the debate. It's easier that way.
Well, I'm glad you made it in safely. And also, somebody who's in town this morning is President Obama. He's waking up in his Kenwood home after taking in that game last night.
I wonder if he probably gets World Series tickets. Well, I mean, he had courtside tickets.
I think he is going. Isn't he going to? I thought he was going to Kansas City today for Game 2. I'm almost positive he is. But he did decide, during halftime of the game yesterday, because there are quarters in basketball, to speak.
Tell us
to
more
the
about sports.
Commentators.
You got a new coach. He's opening up the offense a little bit. The question's going to be whether they can hang on to the defense with the new offense.
Boy.
There you go.
Oh, my
That was
gosh.
on TNT last night.
Did he have
How
his roll?
broad can you get with that brush
seriously.
on basketball?
Well, we got a new coach. Or do you want to go over it again, guys?
Yeah, does he know who the new coach is?
I don't know.
I don't
Who's the
think
new
he does.
coach? Who's the new coach, President Obama? What was his nickname in college? Where did he play in college?
Where did he play professionally? And who does he remind everyone of? He's a baby Tim Floyd. He went to Iowa State.
No.
He's the mayor.
No.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me.
Fred.
You guys have shunned me twice today. I'm going to grab up my toys and go home now.
By the way, but did you see this, though? I'm wondering if President Obama might scalp his tickets tonight, because that's what Andrew Cuomo, his son, governor of New York, scalping his tickets. This is the New York Post. Mets fans not so happy. Cuomo's reelection campaign offered tickets to Game 3 and Game 4 at Citi Field for $5,500 apiece.
What?
It's essentially scalping his tickets.
That is.
It's legal, but it's...
Wait. Is face values for how?
Face value is $1.25.
And he's scalping them for $5,500.
He's got to raise
That's illegal.
Money. No.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh. No. So he has to raise money for his campaign?
Why do politicians get seats to these games?
Pick me. I know.
Amy.
Okay, thank you for choosing me. Well, because I was at the Division Series and then at the NLCS.
Yeah, you were sitting next to Pat Quinn and John Cullerton.
Yeah, John Cullerton was behind me. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, the owners of the team dole out 2 tickets to each alderman whose area is around Wrigley Field. All right, and then some state, because our state senator is John Cullerton. Tom Tani got tickets and Amaya Pawar.
Well, Tom Tunney doesn't need tickets because
he gave his away.
He's up the Ricketts butts every day.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's always there. What area does Pat Quinn represent?
He's just a former governor.
What about
Who else was there?
when I see Jim Thompson or Richie Daley at Sox games? What do they represent? Besides
Daley's-
failed government.
I think Daley has season tickets.
I don't want. This is honestly, this is an insult. Stop these sports teams, particularly that start in Chicago. Stop insulting your fans by subsidizing the political ruling class that is making their lives and, frankly, your lives more difficult. Stop it.
Okay.
Especially when you have, like
Tom
the
Tani
likes of
doesn't
Andrew
go.
Cuomo.
Tom Tani doesn't go.
Well,
He
he's
just
got
gives them away, and he doesn't sell them.
no.
So
He's
his
got
assistant told me he doesn't sell them. Amy, he doesn't make money off of this.
He's in the kitchen at Ann Sather's making quiches and
we don't make quiches.
pancakes.
Swedish pancakes and lingonberry sauce.
Yes, that's what Tom Tunney's doing.
What's the score?
Nothing.
Who's winning?
The Bears.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
What time did that game end?
Like 12:15.
Wow.
Did you see Edison Volquez, the starting pitcher for the Royals? His father died, and they didn't tell him
Until after the game.
until after he was pulled out of
Yeah,
the game.
if you were here on time for work, Mike Scott already went
Well,
over
I'm
that.
sure I knew Mike Scott had it. I should have known Mike Scott would.
That's amazing, though. Wow. Also, what's amazing is the amount of water on the roadways. Constant rain last night, and it's going to be tapering off by late this afternoon, but we're going to have some passing showers in the afternoon, a high of 57 degrees. And tonight, more showers on the way. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy, windy, a high of 52. Let's get the travel times on this soggy commute to work. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. It's not going to be a pretty morning rush, that's for sure. Already on the inbound line, everything is shut down at Marquette, 67th Street. Jackknife semi, been there for about an hour and a half now. And all lanes remain closed on the inbound side. Outbound Eisenhower, past York Road, 2 right lanes are blocked. Clean up after there was a rollover semi. Southbound Lakeshore Drive has a brief roadwork delay. North Avenue to Chicago Avenue. There's some northbound work as well. Veterans Memorial Tollway southbound. The ramp to northbound I-55 has a crash. That one's just reported. Indiana Toll Road, both directions. Exits to eastbound 94 closed till 6 a.m. We'll keep an eye on the president later this morning as his motorcade will cause some rolling closures. It certainly made yesterday afternoon and evening's rushes pretty challenging. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
To get your 2 MyPillows for the price of one, call 800-489-0201 and please use the promo code Amy. Or you can go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Amy. That's 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Either way, don't forget the promo code AMY.
There are 2 kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers and the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Chicago. This is a city of hardworking, dedicated people. So when you need a team to design, construct, and finish your project on time and on budget, look no further than to CPMH Construction. CPMH Construction is a full-service construction company specializing in commercial and industrial projects, along with sewer, excavation, and parking lot design. This MBE-certified business uses the technology you want and puts it in the hands of their skilled crew of tradesmen. Tradesmen who are loaded with the know-how and experience to address every detail of your job, meeting your standard of excellence. At CPMH, client satisfaction is the foundation of their success, which is why 97% of their clients return for additional services. Call CPMH today at 312-929-2345. That's 312-929-2345. Or visit cpmhconstruction.com and let them develop and implement a plan that ensures you the success of your next big project.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so President Obama, before he went to the Bulls game, he stopped by that National Police Chiefs Association conference at McCormick Place where the Black Lives Matter agitators were protesting over the weekend and taking down the American flag, because that represents oppression, of course, and then raising the, unapologetically black or something like that flag, which was then subsequently taken down. I guess it was probably put back up when President Obama came to town. But he has essentially offered a sanitized room temperature version of the Black Lives Matter rap.
Times when I was younger, and maybe even as I got a little older, but before I had a motorcade, where I got pulled over and I confessed. I told Chief Beck, most of the time I got a ticket, I deserved it.
Smoking
I
weed.
knew why I was pulled over. But there were times where I didn't.
Because he was smoking too much weed. Didn't know where he was.
And as a report that came out just this week reminded us, there are a lot of African Americans, not just me, who have that same kind of story of being pulled over or frisked or something. And the data shows that this is not an aberration. It doesn't mean each case is a problem. It means that when you aggregate all the cases and you look at it, you've got to say that there's some racial bias in the system.
Yeah.
He's got to speed up the cadence.
No, you're not hanging on his every word?
He lost me 30 seconds ago. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing we've heard before. You know, even when he was a state senator, he heard the click of people locking their car doors when he walked by because he was black. You know,
No, because he was in that van with the Choom Gang and people were afraid.
Stop it. But he tried to get some street cred and remind the people there that, you know, he's from the South Side, Dan.
I live on the south side of Chicago, so my house is pretty close to some places where shootings take place. Because that's real, we've got to get on top of it before it becomes an accelerating trend.
I think that day has passed. I mean, what an interesting way to describe this. So your home in the district you represented as a state senator, in the state you represented a U.S. senator, is in a war zone. Mm-hmm. What does that say about your representation, Mr. Former State Senator, former U.S. Senator, current president?
It means everything. Well, it's escalated since he's left. I mean, you had the Hayden Panettiere shooting.
Hadia Pendleton.
Oh, my God.
Hayden Panettiere. He was playing third base for the Mets last night.
Proof that I did watch the game.
Yeah.
Was that in the second quarter?
Yes.
Kidding. Come on. No, but violence has escalated in his neighborhood. That's why when they are done with their little reign on top of there, they are never moving back to Kenwood. It's too dangerous.
No, sell it back to Tony Resco once he gets out of the can.
Yeah, but no, nothing is done. Nothing was accomplished. But his whole argument, his point of contention yesterday is that more guns on the street do not make us safer.
More guns on the streets do not make you or your community safer. Folks.
Yeah, but then he didn't have a resolution or an answer as to what will make us safer.
Nothing like saying that to a
police
bunch of police chiefs who get to carry weapons.
And they're all carrying.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, it's exactly what you expected Obama to do at this thing. Kind of walk the middle of the road, try and be a friend to both sides. Really, he's not a friend to police, and any police officer who thinks he is just not properly reading between the lines of his kind of tired, banal rhetoric. But David Clark, our friend, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, he speaks in no hushed tones where Obama said there's a racial bias in the system. Remember, he's talking about, the aggregation. Well, what's the number, President Obama? Because there are 12 million arrests in this country every day. 12 million.
12 million?
Yeah. So how many cases are we really talking about? Mr. Clark, Sheriff Clark from Milwaukee County, on with Hannity, said there is no racism in the hearts of police officers. Now, that's a blanket statement, too. I mean, I'm sure there's maybe one or two officers out there somewhere in the country, 750,000 officers that may not come to the table even-handed. I mean, they're just human beings like everybody else. But is the incident greater among police than it is in the general populace? No indication that that's true. And he also went on to say, Sheriff Clark, you know what the definition of brutality is? Because he's tired of this word, police brutality. Brutality is savage and physical violence. That definition might apply to ISIS, but it does not apply to the institution of American policing. I find that to be insulting. They redefine words. They've taken police brutality as a substitute for the police use of force. I've had it with this continuous drumbeat by these cop-hating anarchists and their use of inflammatory rhetoric and hyperbole about the character and integrity of the American police officer. So that's Sheriff David Clark with a very succinct response to President Obama. I'm pretty compelled by the Sheriff Clark response, less so by the President Obama offering. Mike on the north side.
Hi, good morning. Why is it every time this guy speaks about crime, he always blames the police officer, but never the criminals? He never goes to the criminals and blames them. He did go to prison, but he didn't blame them for being there. Yeah. This guy is like Jesse Jackson without the rhyme.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Bob and Waukegan.
Yeah, the question I would ask President Obama, he said that more guns on the streets would not make people safer. I would ask him if more policemen who carried guns on the streets, if there were a lot more policemen with guns, if that would make us safer. His answer would probably be yes. And then I would ask him, well, if more policemen carrying guns on the street would make us safer, how come more law-abiding citizens who are qualified to have a concealed carry carrying guns would not make us safer? And that would choke him up, and he wouldn't be able to really answer the question, because when he did, he would have to be saying that he didn't trust the American people, law-abiding citizens, to carry guns, and that's his exact point.
Thanks for the call, Bob.
And another problem, every time President Obama spends the night at his Kenwood home, it's really hard for his neighbors to find parking.
It's very annoying because I'm trying to go to the casino here, trying to get away from all this stuff, and I can't find my car.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with the 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
Speaking of aggregating data, text from 702. When you aggregate all the evidence of black presidents are terrible. Nice analogy. You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com, that is. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content that you won't find anywhere else from those who have operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders, offering in-depth insights on the big issues of the day. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can also check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and the Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. So learn how to change the rules of the game so they cannot be gamed by the connected against the unconnected. Learn how to unfix systems and institutions that are wired against those who play by the rules. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
I love this text message from 847. Hey, fourth quarter, Amy? Yeah, and KC won on the fifth overtime, right?
Yes.
I made a mistake. I was thinking about basketball, but talking about baseball. No more mistakes. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, Amy will get her thinking together as we talk about something where House Republicans deserve plaudits. The impeachment of a certain high-ranking official in the government. No, not President Obama at 5:35.
And Denny Hastert appears in court today. We'll have the details. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Rain showers, 52. Graphic videos of a Guantanamo Bay detainee being force-fed will not be kept secret from the public. Ruling announced late yesterday by a U.S. District Court judge in Washington. Judge Gladys Kessler says the government's argument for barring the public from seeing them was neither rational nor, in her words, plausible. No pre-debate jitters for GOP presidential candidate Marco Rubio.
For us, not easy, but easier is I know what I believe in. We have a well-structured, well-outlined foreign policy document, both foreign policy, domestic policy we've talked about extensively. And so when you have clear ideas about the issues before our country, I think it helps a lot.
Florida Senator Rubio speaking to Fox News. Today's debate is in Boulder, Colorado, the Republicans' third. House Republicans expected to formally nominate Paul Ryan of Wisconsin to be Speaker of the House in a closed meeting today. The Federal Reserve wraps up its two-day meeting today. It's all but certain to hold off on increasing interest rates from the record lows where they have stood since 2008. Investigators say most of the passengers on a whale-watching boat carrying 27 that capsized off Vancouver Island were on the left side of the top deck. That's when a wave struck the boat's right side. 5 British nationals were killed. Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert scheduled to plead guilty today in his hush money case at the Dirksen Federal Building, a story we will follow for you throughout the day. Chicago City Council expected to take up a proposed budget today that includes a massive property tax hike and other fees to help close a shortfall and address its underfunded pension system. A Northwest Indiana police chief says an elderly man called 911 and did not receive emergency care for 47 minutes because the dispatcher entered the wrong address. Griffith Police Chief Greg Mance says the man in his 80s later died. His name not immediately available. Walgreens makes a big deal, buying one of its biggest rivals this morning, the Deerfield-based drug company announcing they've agreed to acquire Rite Aid for just over $17 billion. 5 hours worth of baseball in Game 1 of the World Series. Royals beat the Mets 5-4. Paul Gasol's block on LeBron James in the closing seconds preserved the Bulls' win over the Cavaliers 97-95. The news service of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Visit greatfutures.org. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity says even Obama can't defend Hillary's email scandal.
He even legitimized the email scandal by saying it was legitimate. Asked if he agrees with Bill and Hillary that it's not a big deal, he said, well, it's important for her to answer these questions to the satisfaction of the American public and let them make up their own minds. So Obama, let me interpret, threw her down the stairs last night.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Exergen temporal scanner thermometer is the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide and should be yours. With one scan to the forehead, Exergen temporal scanner provides an accurate temperature, stress-free. Available at Walgreens.
It's the Yellow Tag event, and now is the time to find your ultimate adventure. Whether it's a Can-Am ATV, side-by-side, Can-Am Spyder, or Ski-Doo snowmobile, you can turn up the excitement for any season with our industry-leading performance and technology. Hurry in by October 31st and save up to $3,000 on select 2015 models and get up to a 3-year warranty. Visit Dockside Marine in Wilmington. Restrictions may apply. See your dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
If you want to work until you drop, reduce your standard of living in retirement, or lose more of your hard-earned money in the stock market, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to generate a steady, predictable income, I'm talking real wealth and financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. A free report is now available that reveals the money-making secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. It reveals how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. To get your free special report, visit bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com.
5:37, a quick update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim.
Like the inbound Ryan, local lanes are shut down at Marquette due to a jackknife semi. It's jammed from 79th. Outbound Eisenhower, stop and go St. Charles to York. Roll over the two right lanes. Crash reported on the ramp from southbound 355 to northbound I-55. That's traffic. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com weather center. Cloudy, breezy, rain and drizzle this morning. 57 for a high temp and an evening shower pegged in spots. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, windy, and colder in a low of 36. 52 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Joe Walsh here. Who did the Republicans choose to be their speaker today? Paul Ryan or Joe Walsh? I'll have all the details when Freedom returns at 5.
Dan and Amy, so we've yesterday kind of excoriated the House Republicans for what Steve Moore, and we'll talk to Steve Moore in the 7 o'clock hour, 7:15. Steve Moore called the worst budget deal since George Herbert Walker Bush broke his Read My Lips, No New Taxes pledge.
Really?
Quite a statement. Quite a statement by Steve Moore. And the reason is, as we discussed yesterday, they walked away from what they said, what Boehner and House Republican leadership said was the signature accomplishment of Boehner's tenure as Speaker, which was the sequester spending cuts. Walked away from it and for illusory, quote-unquote, structural reform of disability benefits under Social Security, which is not structural reform, at least as it's been reported. Terrible, terrible budget deal, complete surrender to President Obama yet again. But on the flip side, so you have to criticize and give him hell when it's deserved, but you also have to extend applause when it's deserved, and I think it's deserved here.
Are you going to say something nice about someone?
I say nice things about people all the time when they do good things.
Okay.
It's just we don't have enough people doing good things often enough. That's the problem. But Jason Chaffetz, and who's head of the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, of course, and 18 other committee members of that committee, introduced an impeachment resolution to remove John Koskinen, the IRS commissioner, from his post.
Really?
This is big. This is, on the heels of the FBI essentially clearing the IRS generally and Lois Lerner specifically for the illegal targeting of Americans based on their political and religious beliefs. So this is House Republicans showing a little bit of fight, and it's frankly very encouraging because John Koskinen has been an obfuscator and an obstructionist and apparently committed high crimes and misdemeanors. He would be the first cabinet official or agency head to be impeached since 1876.
And you probably know who the last person was.
That'd be William Belknap.
In 1876?
Yeah, he was Secretary of War, William Belknap, for those of you keeping
score.
track of
I'm marking that down on things I
cabinet
need
officers
to know.
and agency heads that have been impeached in the history.
Too soon!
Still not over Belknap, huh? Yeah.
No.
I mean, he's got extended family. Have some consideration. Gosh, shakes. All right, so here are the charges against Koskinen.
All right, I'm ready.
The first charge in the impeachment resolution provides that Koskinen failed to comply with House-issued subpoenas. Congress instructed Koskinen to supply all emails related to Lois Lerner, who, again, ran the IRS Exempt Organizations Division during the illegal targeting. And it's clear Koskinen made little or no effort to preserve or track those communications, and that only a few weeks after the subpoena, IRS employees in West Virginia erased some 400 backup tapes, destroying 24,000 Lerner emails. Yeah, boy, that kind of the Hillary
that
Clinton
is a
model.
crime in itself.
Well, we're not done with the charges. The second charge cites a pattern of deception and 3 materially false statements Koskinen made to Congress under oath. So, perjuring yourself. That's, perjuring yourself before Congress. That's legit. And some of those materially false statements included Koskinen's assurances that no learner emails had been lost. We know that's not true. And then also his just back and forth story that we have the hard drive, we don't have the hard drive is recoverable, or emails and content on the hard drive is recoverable. No, it isn't. Just this kind of runaround that the House Oversight Committee was getting, much like the Benghazi Committee has gotten from State Department. So I'm be happy to see the Benghazi Committee bring impeachment charges against who's ever remaining from Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State, or maybe a preemptive impeachment proceeding against Hillary Clinton, as I've suggested before. Impeach her before she becomes president, just to get it out of the way. Third charge is that while Koskinen knew learners' emails were missing as early as February of 2014, he didn't inform Congress until June 13th of that year, and then only by tucking the news into a unrelated letter he had sent to the Senate. And the final charge accuses Koskinen of general rank incompetence, noting how despite his insistence that his agency had gone to quote-unquote great lengths to retrieve learners' emails, the IRS failed to search disaster backup tapes, a learner BlackBerry and laptop, the email server, and its backup tapes, which the Inspector General at Treasury did on his own, and found 1,000 new learner emails in a couple of weeks. So that's a pretty strong case against Koskinen as someone who is purposely obstructing the House Oversight Committee investigation and otherwise engaged in conduct that you could argue is illegal.
Well, yeah, and who does he think he is? Thinking
Exactly.
that he doesn't have to turn over records that are subpoenaed.
Like Hillary, he thinks he's Hillary Clinton or something.
I mean, there can only be one Hillary out there. Or erasing emails. 2,400, you said? In the West Virginia?
24,000.
Oh, my gosh. And he probably won't spend any time in jail, or maybe he will.
Well,
so where does it go from here?
Well, there's an impeachment proceeding, and so there's, bring Henry Hyde back from the dead.
Oh, my God. Stop it.
Proceed accordingly.
No, that's too soon.
But Koskinen, the fact that House Republicans are going after him, we talked about this with Peter Roskam over the last several months as the instances of obstruction continued to pile up, and they weren't ready to exercise this option. Now, at this point, with the FBI and essentially the Department of Justice wiping their hands of it, they're not going to let it die. And Paul Ryan has said specifically his committee, Ways and Means, wasn't going to let it die. And so this is a pretty good indicator that Paul Ryan must be on board with this as the incoming speaker to have the House Republicans proceed as they are. And this is showing some fight and demanding some accountability from the most powerful non-military agency in the federal government. Let's not forget what we're talking about here and who we're talking about. We're talking about the IRS, the power to destroy lives. Because as we know, the power to tax is the power to destroy. Well, the power to collect taxes is the same power. Serious business, and I'm glad the House Republicans are continuing to take it seriously, even against the mau-mauing by Democrats and their handmaidens in the media. Kenny in Willow Springs, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted to say, I kind of think they're selling out the Republican base on one aspect and then throwing red meat, on the same day with something else. And not to minimize the IRS issue, that's huge. The American public, everybody hates the IRS, and, they're dishonest, and I think that's a big get, but, I really believe that, they're giving the budget up for that, they're just using that as cover. That's my thought.
Well, you may be right, Kenny. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I mean, that's a bit of a cynical read, but it doesn't make it untrue. So I think you look at them both individually based on the merits, and the merits of the budget deal, there are none for the Republicans from a Republican perspective, from a small government perspective.
President Obama said this deal is going to be great because it's not going to increase the budget deficit.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
that was his big thing yesterday at the conference.
Right. More evidence that there's no merit to the budget deal. But the IRS, this is big. And I mean, Kenny acknowledged that this is big. And so you have to say you failed us on the budget, but continuing to go after the IRS, not backing down to the IRS is important. And remember, even Koskinen has acknowledged there's a handful of Tea Party groups applications for nonprofit status that have been waiting for years, one nearly 6 years, as the Washington Times reported earlier in this week, and we reported here.
Wasn't that the Albuquerque Tea Party?
Yeah. And so, essentially the IRS holding up people's ability to organize and participate in the public policy process, similar to other Americans, that's a problem. We're talking about political and religious freedom in this country and it being torn asunder by the IRS. That is important. And frankly, given our $80 to $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, the real amount of debt that we owe, this budget deal, terrible as it is less important on the grand scheme of things than our political and religious freedom.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Coming up next, Denny Hastert heads back to court today. We'll have the details, but first, here's your soggy forecast. Light rain out there, 52 degrees at O'Hare. We're going to have drizzle throughout the morning, then a shower by the afternoon, a high of 57. Tonight, an evening shower in spots, otherwise mostly cloudy, very windy, colder, a high in the 30s. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy and windy, highs in the lower 50s. Let's get the travel times. I'm sure they're nasty out there. Here's Jim Telemonte.
It's going to be rough, Amy and Dan. Inbound Ryan. Here's some good news, though. At Marquette, all lanes have reopened after there was a jackknife semi that had the local lane shut down for a couple of hours. But there is a new crash. This one is near the Stevenson Expressway, just before 55. Two left lanes are blocked for delays. 95th to 67th, and then from around 35th to before the Stevenson. 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eden's Kennedy still looking okay, but it's slower everywhere with the rain and fog. Eisenhower inbound, 31 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound, 53. Jammed St. Charles to York Road. Two right lanes blocked after a rollover. Stevenson, 40 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. I-57 Bishop Ford with 5-minute delays approaching the merge. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
It's just nasty.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I had anemia. That's when I got on to Balance of Nature. Then when I came off it, I got anemia again. That's one of the reasons I got back on it. I said, you know what, let me call them up and let me start doing the right thing. I made a mistake by getting off it. I think this is a good product, and I'm going to just stick with it.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
This is Sam Gilberto, president of American Embroidery and Screen Printing and American Marketing Products. We specialize in putting your logo on just about anything. Our focus is entirely on you, our customer. We want every customer experience to be outstanding. American Embroidery and Screen Printing is a brick and mortar business located in Glendale Heights. Our equipment and manufacturing processes are state of the art, so are the people who work here. With over 40 years experience, we have the capability, capacity, and know-how to get your job done right and on time. I want to earn your business, so for a limited time, we're offering free artwork on embroidery and screen printing orders for all new customers. Let us help you gear up for that big trade show, provide shirts or jackets for all your employees, students, or church members, or simply provide you with giveaway items such as coffee mugs, pens, or hats. Whatever it is, you can trust an American to take care of it. It's easy to contact us, trustinamerican.com. That's trustinamerican.com, or call at 630-766-2825.
What could you do with an extra $500, $1,000, or even $1,500 per month? How would that change things for you? Would you buy a new car, pay off bills, or just feel a bit more secure about your retirement? What if I told you there may be a way to make your dreams a reality? I'm talking about trading and investing in the market. Now, before you say, oh no, that's not for me, just hear me out. I want to invite you to a free trading and investing class so you can check this out. And right now, if you call in and mention Offer Radio 50, Online Trading Academy will comp the class and even send you home with a free $247 home study program. Call right now and reserve your your seat while space is still available. Call 888-601-TRADE. Call 888-601-TRADE. Mention offer Radio 50. Call 888-601-TRADE or online at otaclass.com. That's 888-601-8723 or otaclass.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, I was there the first time he was in court back in, a few months ago, and it was so sad. He came in by himself. His attorney walked in with him. No family members were there. It was just a standing room only of reporters, and he, gingerly handed over his passport to the judge, But they pled not guilty, and then now, after some consultation, he's entering a guilty plea today at Dirksen Federal Building.
He being one.
Dennis Hastert, yes.
Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert.
The longest-serving House Speaker.
Yes.
But the sad thing is we're never going to know what happened. We know that he paid off Individual A, was planning on paying him off $3.5 million, paid him off about $1.7 million before the feds came to his house last December and wanted to talk to him. And at that point in time, he made the bad decision of lying to them, saying, oh, no, I'm taking that money and, quote unquote, keeping it for myself. So that's a problem. So he's going to enter a plea today of guilty, and that may be it. We might not know what he did. We know he paid Individual A to hush him up for something, but what is that something?
I wonder if he'll go to the Love Ranch for a weekend bender before he goes to prison, like Lamar Odom, and to pick up that transgendered prostitute that Lamar Odom liked.
Well, each count carries a maximum of 5 years in prison, but with Hastert's background and no criminal history, he could receive far less time behind bars, if any. He might be on home confinement for a year.
Well, so here's the thing. In terms of will we ever know, it's a good question, a bit of an unknown at this point. I suspect at some point the truth will come out. It usually does.
Don't you think it would have come out by now, though? Because so many people were looking for Individual A.
No, Individual A is not ready to talk, obviously.
But does Individual A have to give the money back? And why didn't Individual A have to pay taxes on the money that he got from Denny Hastert?
Well, so Individual A could be cooperating, and there may be a deal that we don't know about. So this is why the assembled Chicago press corps, such as it is, that you described for Denny Hastert's arraignment, they should keep Zach Farden, the U.S. attorney for the Northern District here. They should keep him as long as they need to keep him to get answers to a lot of questions, some of which you just offered, in addition to, look, you intimated what you intimated in the federal proffer on Hastert, that it dated back to his days as a high school coach, and there's all kinds of innuendo there. And you let the innuendo run wild as you knew it would. So now close the loop or explain to us that the innuendo is not indicative of the substance, is not indicative of the truth, which everything I hear is it is. But let's just say it isn't, U.S. Attorney Farden. Then you tell us how you're cutting a deal with a known pedophile, a known sexual deviant, a known child molester, if that's what the substance of the case, as you understand it, with the evidence that you've gathered, indicates. How are you cutting a deal with this person? Why not pursue him to the fullest extent of the law under those structured withdrawal statutes you referenced as the means to to bring him to justice for the real crimes that he committed?
But
and I want to hear the answer. I want to hear
out?
Not for the structured withdrawals. It's Capone for tax evasion. Use what you have to impose maximum punishment for the real crime. And I want to hear Zach Farden's answer to that question. The public has a right to understand what Zach Farden understands about what Denny Hastert did and the decisions he made based on the understanding that he has. This is not going to end with a change in plea today and whatever plea arrangement or sentencing recommendation the U.S. Attorney offers.
When Denny Hastert was leaving the courthouse the last time I was there, I was pretty close to him, standing about as close together as you and I are standing. I said, what do you have to say to Stephen Reinbold? And he stopped and he looked around and he gave me a strange look and then slowly looked back down and walked out the door. It was very strange, but I thought, at least he responded. So that we know who he molested.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Holiday parties come in all shapes and sizes. Elegant plated dinners, festive cocktail hours, casual buffets, themed events, and more.
Tasty Catering is already decked out with the holiday spirit, featuring a brand new holiday catering menu and a team of event planners who are eager to help you experience a successful party of any kind.
So much more than amazing holiday catering, Tasty Catering has been helping companies plan their entire holiday parties from start to finish for decades. Tasty Catering is a Chicago holiday tradition.
Your event can be exactly what you envisioned. All you need to do is visit tastycatering.com or call Tasty Catering at 847-593-2000 and tell them your event date.
A planner will ask you about your holiday party goals and then help you reach them as simply and stress-free as possible.
tastycatering.com. Start your holiday planning with a company that Chicago trusts. Tasty Catering, 847-593-2000.
Tasty Catering is a Chicago holiday tradition. 847-593-2000.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson & Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson & Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson & Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson & Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
You didn't build that. You don't pay your fair share. Who do you think you are? Ayn Rand knew exactly who you are. Rational, productive, independent. You work hard and use your own judgment. You choose your career path, your lifestyle, your values. You're living the American dream. And now you see that there are people who want to take away what you've created and who will call their lust to loot a virtue. People who think the needs of others is a claim on your money, your work, your life. Well, how can you fight back? That's what they do at the Ayn Rand Institute. They look closely at public policy beyond sound bites and election cycles, at the fundamental moral ideas that frame crucial debates. They focus on reframing the issues in line with reason, egoism, and individual rights to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. Your life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of your happiness. Stand up with them to fight against the sacrifice of your values by making a contribution today at AynRand.org/support. They'll use your money to defend your values.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Believing in God may help you succeed in life, but it'll get you a failing grade as a 7th grader in Katy, Texas. We'll explain at 6:06.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories that we are watching today. Prepping for the big debate. Fox with the latest on the GOP presidential herd gathering today for another sparring chance on stage. Meantime, the former Speaker of the House expected to plead guilty in a federal case here in Chicago today. Mayor Emanuel's tax-laden budget to get a vote, and Walgreens set to buy Rite Aid. Bulls open the season with a win. The Blackhawks battle the Jets later in a cloudy, breezy, and drizzly day ahead with a high of 57. Weather after Fox News, WINT, Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Will he be fired? A sheriff's deputy caught up in a controversy that's gone viral, could find out as soon as today, for a high school arrest seen all over the internet. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott says once his internal investigation is over, he'll make a decision about whether to keep Deputy Ben Fields on the force. Growing outrage over the incident was heard last night in a school district meeting of parents and community members.
No white child would have been removed from Spring Valley like that.
That child in the classroom was given ample opportunity to comply.
Now, Fields is white. The girl in the video is black. The FBI and Department of Justice are investigating, Dave.
Tony, the Republicans running for president debate a third time tonight, focused on the economy. House Republicans are busy today. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
The House is expected to vote on a budget agreement, putting off a government shutdown fight and a showdown over the debt limit through 2016. Vice President Joe Biden said not everyone got what they wanted, but it's a good deal.
It will last for 2 years, and it will prevent us from lurching from crisis
just a crisis.
The vote comes on the same day the Republican conference is expected to nominate Paul Ryan as the next House Speaker, replacing John Boehner, who helped broker the spending deal. House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
I think history will be kind to this man.
Critics of the deal blew off steam on Twitter using the hashtag #ZombieBudget. Dave.
Now, Rachel, 4th and 8th graders aren't quite as good at math. Their scores have slipped over the last 2 years. The National Assessment of Education Progress also says 8th graders had lower reading scores. The Royals strike first in the World Series.
You know, they're a team that one of the things we know about them is they're never down and out.
Mets manager Terry Collins, after Kansas City twice came back to tie New York before finally winning Game 1 5-4 in the 14th inning, the longest World Series opening game ever. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Rain and 52 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert scheduled to plead guilty today in his hush money case, part of an agreement with prosecutors. The hearing in Chicago federal court will be the 73-year-old's first court appearance since entering his initial plea of not guilty in June. Mayor Emanuel's 2016 budget, along with his giant property tax increase, is headed to a vote by the full city council today. We get more details on this from AM 560's David Stewart.
Mayor Emanuel has worked to secure as many votes as possible, listening more closely than usual to aldermen's suggestions and complaints. He justifies the large tax hike by saying it's the first time in decades that the real cost of government is being addressed.
And I make no bones that a budget that finally confronts our challenges rather than kick the can down the road is a tough budget.
On top of higher property taxes, the budget institutes a first-ever fee for trash pickup and raises a number of other taxes and fees. David Stewart, Chicago.
And the Chicago City Council is also set to vote on plans for filmmaker George Lucas's proposed museum along the lakefront. At least one police chief is pleased with the president's backing of law enforcement. The president spoke to police chiefs yesterday here in Chicago, and Sabalo, Texas Police Chief Gary Cox liked what he heard.
I came away with a very positive outlook. I was encouraged, by his words that there is support for the law enforcement community.
Cox says the president's remarks may serve as a fresh start in the division between police and their communities. Teachers and East St. Louis School District officials are talking again, but there are no signs that they're close to a deal to end a month-long teachers' strike. 6,000 students are out of class. And inside the park home run, a power failure that blacked out television audiences. And the longest World Series opener ever had a bit of everything, and a Royals win 5-4 over the Mets, and it is not the longest World Series game ever. That honor belongs to the White Sox and Astros. How about Pau Gasol pushing around LeBron James in the final seconds, preserving the Bulls' 97-95 win over the Cavaliers in the season opener for both teams. The news, a service of the Foundation for a Better Life. She didn't just move in. She didn't just visit the sick and poor. She moved in because they needed help. Mother Teresa couldn't do it all, but gave her all. Compassion. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. 6:04, time to have air comfort. Check out your building's mechanical system. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, I pledge to help small businesses grow.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
It's that time of year. There's going to be a lot that scares you. Replacing your windows shouldn't be one of them. Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1, plus no money down and no interest until 2017. Say goodbye to high heating bills with energy-efficient windows from Feldco. Hurry, this treat and 2 windows for the price of 1 ends Saturday. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
6:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest on your morning commute. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Earlier crashes made a mess of the inbound Ryan. There was one near Marquette involving a jackknife semi. There was one before the Stevenson. All lanes have reopened, but it is 35 minutes from 95th to downtown, and this has affected I-57 at the Bishop Ford. I-57, 30 minutes. I-80 to the Ryan, Bishop Ford at 25. Edens is still fine. Kennedy inbound, 22 minutes. So O'Hare to downtown up on 25. Inbound Eisenhower, slow 83 to York and Manheim to first, 42 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 55. Jan from the Tri-State to York, 2 right lanes still blocked after a rollover. On Stevenson, 45 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Adams Tollway eastbound, stop and go Gulf to Arlington Heights Road due to a crash. Traffic Service will think it up. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Let's get the latest with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy today with wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Occasional morning rain and drizzle followed by an afternoon shower. High 57. Then an evening shower in spots. Otherwise mostly cloudy and windy tonight with gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Low of 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
52 and clouds at O'Hare. Winds out of the south at 11. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
An FBI investigation is underway right now after allegations of excessive force and racial bias. And the officer who slammed the 16-year-old girl to the floor and dragged her across the room could find out today if he'll lose his job.
The president watched the Bulls win by 2 tonight, but basketball definitely not the only reason he's in town.
It doesn't mean each case is a problem. It means that when you aggregate all the cases and you look at it, you've got to say that there's some racial bias in the system.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy says you stay up to watch the Mets-Royals game.
I watched until the 4th inning when there's technical difficulties flashing on my screen for a little bit.
You missed Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, how many did he pitch? How long did he pitch? How many pitches did he throw?
Bartolo Colon pitched for a while. He got out of a couple jams, and don't say to Bartolo Colon a nice pitching out of that jam because it just makes him hungry.
Stop.
Do you know you know how big this guy is?
He's got a.
I mean, he's old. He's like my age. So
well, I think he's a year older than you, isn't he?
No, I think he's.
Aren't you 39?
Yes.
No, he's 42, 43.
Oh, so I'm a year older than him actually. But I'm not in much better shape than many people. But I'm in better shape than Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, but he uses that weight to his advantage, and he looks like John Goodman on the mound there. Don't you think?
Yeah, John Goodman would have to gain 100 pounds to play him in the biopic.
He's not that big.
Yeah, no, he's that big. He's like Rick Russell and Terry Forster combined.
Oh, he played for the Indians, right? And the White Sox, and he's
played
been
for
around forever.
I mean, he's still I give him credit. He's still got major league stuff, and he still pitched pretty well last night. But when he was chewing on the mound,
on his hand,
no, on the mound,
because he was hungry for a snack.
Well, it was hard. I didn't know if he was chewing gum or chewing the chicken parm sandwich he had made for himself between innings.
Stop it. Hey, that's good.
Where's my? Finally.
Gosh,
it's like I'm like 4 deep before I get a rim shot around here. All right. Well, it was a great game, and the Royals are up 1-0.
Is that where you were tweeting last night?
Yeah.
So are you going to watch the game?
I was working on my material. I'm opening for Tom Dreesen at the Yuck Hut.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks.
Are you going to watch game 2 or game 3 of the GOP debate?
Why can't I do both?
Oh, you're going to crisscross. Huh?
Yeah.
Going to be finger trigger happy tonight.
Exactly. All right, so this story is disturbing. I know everybody's focused on this story in South Carolina with this arrest of a young female student. But
and we'll get to that at top of 7.
yes, we will. But there's something else that happened to a young female student in Katy, Texas. This happened in Texas. It can happen anywhere. And so I would give this as much attention. The student's name is Jordan Woolley. She's a 7th grader at West Memorial Junior High in the Katy Independent School District in Texas. She went to a school board meeting this week to talk about what her 7th grade teacher did in class. And, well, let's just let Jordan Woolley tell her story.
Today I was given an assignment in school that questioned my faith and told me that God was not real.
Mm-hmm.
That was an
We
assignment.
were asked to take a poll to say whether God is fact, opinion, or a myth. And she told anyone who said that a fact or opinion was wrong and that God is only a myth. And she started saying, telling kids that they were completely wrong and that when kids would argue, she had told them that we would get in trouble. And whenever we asked why we were led to believe that he was true, if he is untrue, she told us to ask our pastors.
And what happens if they don't abide the 7th grade teacher's admonition that God is a myth and that's the only correct answer?
Another child in my class had asked the teacher if we could try to put what we believe in on the paper, and she said you can if you want to get the problem wrong, which will fail. You'll fail the paper if you do.
That reminds me of, the gunman in Washington who said, do you believe in God? You have a gun to your head. Do you believe in God? Who's your savior? And it's essentially the same thing.
That was in
Do you
Oregon.
want Oregon? Excuse me, but out in the Pacific West there. But eventually Northwest. But eventually, I mean, she's faced with the same decision. Do you want to fail your class, or do you want to tell everyone that you love and believe in God?
Well, here, there's a less serious option of taking this to the school board, taking this to the adults and see if any of the adults care. Apparently her parents cared, and they've raised a very well-spoken young lady. I mean, she's appearing in an empty room if you watch the video, and it's at eagnews.org. In an empty room at a school board meeting, she just walks up, this little girl walks up to the podium, and she just starts speaking extemporaneously. It's very impressive. She lays out exactly what happened. It's pretty compelling stuff. She also, to her credit, tried to talk to the teacher. Here's how that went.
I know that our schools aren't really supposed to teach us much about religion or question anything about religion. And when I tried to talk to my teacher about it, she told me that it doesn't have anything to do with religion because the problem was just saying that there is no God.
Right. There's no God. That's not a religious statement.
This woman, does this teacher been suspended or fired?
Well,
why isn't she answering questions in front of the school board or being asked
Yeah,
questions?
well, you know how these things work. There's a whole process, and I'm sure this is a public school, so I'm sure you've got a union, even in Texas, that they've got to deal with. And so listen to what one school board member said to young Jordan Woolley after she offered an explanation of what happened in class and her concerns about what happened in class. This is one school board member reacting to her statement.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for coming tonight. I'm truly sorry that you feel your faith was questioned. As you pointed out, the principal was made aware of this today, and we'll have a chance to work on that as per district policy and procedures. So thank you for coming tonight. We will definitely be looking into that.
First of all, I'm sorry you feel like your faith was violated or questioned. You feel like it.
It was.
Right.
There's no feelings.
That's not an apology. That's right. I'm sorry you feel that way. Well, you're not apologizing for what happened or suggesting what happened was wrong because God forbid, excuse me for invoking God, 7th grade teacher in Katy, Texas. I know that's verboten. But there's no ability for adults in charge of children in a school system to explain right and wrong, to take right and wrong positions. What that 7th grade teacher did was wrong. She can be an atheist if she wants and still teach at the school, but to impose her will on students, to not allow for people to make their case, to not present a question and then have robust debate and suggest that one position is the only position and every other position will earn you a failing grade. Is that consistent with district policy, Mr. School Board Member? Is there a process for that?
I like that.
Thank you. But it's all of this over-efficiency. Because, see, this is what happens, and this is why you have instances like this in this Katy, Texas middle school, is because we have the minutia of processes and regulations that have been used as substitutes for adult judgment in these circumstances. And so there's going to be some protracted process, at which point the seventh grade teacher will be sent to a rubber room, or she'll receive a slap on the wrist.
No, she should be fired.
But now
I mean,
you know. Now you know.
Indoctrination at school is not acceptable. 312-642-5600. I think there's no other answer besides her getting fired, because clearly she has an agenda, and you're not supposed to have an agenda besides an academic agenda when you're teaching class.
Well, right. I mean,
you can't let your feelings and your biblical beliefs or lack thereof influence your kids and say God is just a myth, and if you put that down and answer it correctly, you'll get an A.
Yeah, but I mean, it's different. I mean, it's not, I know like 90% of America believes in God, but they're not the 10%, they're not the 90% that are in charge of K through 12 education or higher ed for that matter. And it's a good chunk of that other 10%, and perhaps the 90% needs to pay a little, like thankfully Jordan Woolley and her mom did, pay a little bit closer attention, take a little bit more seriously, not just what the graduation rates are and how good the sports teams are at the K through 12 school system you aim to send your children, or the college you aim to send your children, but what's actually going on, who's there, what they're teaching, and frankly, as in the case of Katy, Texas, were it not for Jordan Woolley, what they're getting away with.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Rainy, soggy start to your Wednesday morning, but we will have clouds and a little bit of break late this morning, then a passing shower early this afternoon, a high of 57 degrees. The rain comes back, though, this evening, a shower in spots, otherwise mostly cloudy. Cool, a low of 36 degrees. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, windy, no rain in the forecast, but it will be chilly, a high of 52. Let's get the travel times. Sure, they're nasty. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, absolutely, Amy and Dan. No matter which school you're headed to or job or wherever, it's a slow slog, especially on the eastbound Adams Tollway now. It's jammed. Roselle Road to Arlington Heights Road with a crash there blocking 2 left lanes. Northbound Tri-State, so 95th to 87th, and from the Reagan Tollway to around North Avenue. The Aiden's inbound, looking at 22 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, 26 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. The Eisenhower, though, 50 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, 22 to Manheim. There's an outbound crash at York Road. 2 right lanes have been blocked there for about 3 hours, and you're looking at an hour and 5 minutes to get from downtown to Thorndale to Stevenson. About 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan after earlier crashes. 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 30. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to do what Amy Jacobson did when she needed a mortgage, and that's called David Hochberg at Pearl Mortgage. Betty's husband recently passed away, and she didn't know how much debt they were in or that they had a 7% loan because her husband handled the finances. Overwhelmed and confused, she called the only person she trusted to help her sort out her finances, and that's David Hochberg. David explained he was going to refinance her into a lower rate, eliminate all of her credit card debt, pay her closing costs, and save her over $800 a month. That sucks, and it can lead you to making bad financial decisions and leave you vulnerable to scumbag predator lenders that'll take advantage of you. If you've lost a family member and want to work with a lender that'll always look out for your financial best interests, the only lender that you should access, like Amy did, is David Hochberg. Call David 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. or visit am560david.com. That's am560david.com. David helped Amy and thousands of other AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. So call David now, 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Pro Mortgage is an equal housing lender.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Leader Pharmacy.
It's the Yellow Tag event, and now is the time to find your ultimate adventure. Whether it's a Can-Am ATV, side-by-side, Can-Am Spyder, or Ski-Doo snowmobile, you can turn up the excitement for any season with our industry-leading performance and technology. Hurry in by October 31st and save up to $3,000 on select 2015 models and get up to a 3-year warranty.
Visit Jim Potts Motor Group in Woodstock or online at jimpottsmotorgroup.com.
Restrictions may apply. See your dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
Hi, Dr. Kobaba here. Let me give you some details on today's Health Quest special. It's our quick test, a 30-second test to make a quick assessment of your current state of health. We'll test your metabolic engine, your percentage of fat weight, measure your lifespan of your cells, calculate your vitality factor, susceptibility to diseases, conditions, and infections. We'll measure your body's mass index and more. Reserve your quick test appointment today, and we'll include, free of charge, your report of findings with me on that very same day. So get your quick test and report of findings with me, and then I'll give you some simple instructions to follow for 30 days to improve your health, and then, well, you'll come back to be retested, and then we'll strategize from there. If you reserve your quick test with us today, well, you're going to get your second one at half the price. That's right. So call our HealthQuest Radio hotline, 800-794-1855. Please do it now. That's 800-794-1855.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking about that school in Texas, this middle school where 7th graders were forced to deny God's existence or fail the paper that was assigned by their teacher. Frank in West Chicago, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. I think the teacher was completely wrong in doing that, but I also don't like the idea of the pledge where kids are forced to say one nation under God. They're promoting the existence of God. So.
You're not forced to say that, actually. You can opt out of that.
Well, they're promoting it, though.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, okay.
Should
we move in
it,
God we trust from our currency and from our courts and the like as well? We need to expunge all expressions of religiosity from the public square. Is that the point?
Just in schools, you're indoctrinating kids with the fact that there is a God, and I think they should just stay out of it.
Yeah.
Stay out of the religious business.
All right. Thanks for the call,
Well,
Frank.
if they opt out, you don't get in trouble. You can just say one nation, indivisible. You don't have to say under God.
Right.
You don't have to.
There's a Supreme Court case law on that.
Yeah.
It's pretty
But this, I mean, what we didn't mention the first time around, there's a lot of kids in her class who did the same thing as her and wrote, God is not just a myth. And a lot of them left crying and were so upset they didn't want to go back to school the next day. So that's proof right there, more evidence that this teacher needs to be removed.
Yeah, isn't the left, progressives, the atheists, aren't they against bullying? Isn't anti-bullying part of their religion as a sort? And when you have a teacher say, you shall believe this or fail, what is that? Speaking of
problems.
Colossal sanctimonious D-bags. Tony Kornheiser.
Ugh.
Tony Kornheiser, you like him on that...
Around the Horn or whatever.
Pardon the interruption with Michael Wilbon, Northwestern grad. I like Michael Wilbon.
Yeah.
Even though he's like a lib, but he's not so obnoxious about it like Kornheiser. Kornheiser has long been an obnoxious, insufferable, ignorant lib. And that was on display again on his little radio show on ESPN. So all you manly conservatives like me who are big sports fans too, may take notice of Tony Kornheiser. Maybe let ESPN know your distaste for Tony Kornheiser the way the left does every time Kurt Schilling makes an inopportune, intemperate tweet and gets sanctioned for it. Tony Kornheiser had Howard Feynman on his show. I know what you're thinking. Why? Well, and they started talking about Paul Ryan as a potential speaker. Feynman said, the House needs a dictatorial leader. Nothing will ever happen. And the Tea Party people understandably don't like that. Yeah, they don't like dictatorship. Boy, those crazy Tea Partiers. If the person in charge is a moderate who doesn't agree with them politically, that's what the Tea Party doesn't like, according to Feynman. So Paul Ryan has the kind of conservative chops where he can sort of try to unify the whole party, but he's going to be spending all his time trying to deal with these Tea Party people. Kornheiser, are they like ISIS trying to establish a caliphate here? I'm talking about the Tea Party. Are they like ISIS trying to establish a caliphate here? Taxed enough already. Reduce the size and scope of government. Get government out of people's lives. Smaller government, more freedom, free minds, free markets. That's the equivalent of trying to establish an Islamic caliphate as Islamic terrorists are trying to do in the Middle East, into Europe and North Africa and Central Asia. And Feynman, who purports to be a serious political journalist, yes, that's a very good analogy. Without the violence, obviously, but yes, they are a rejectionist front. Tony Kornheiser compares a Tea Party patriots to ISIS and the effort to establish a caliphate. Any problem with that?
Well, why hasn't he been suspended?
Precisely.
I mean, if Kurt Schilling gets reprimanded for certain tweets that they're not obnoxious, I mean, this is just, again, bullying and just being plain stupid.
Yes.
He's an ignorant you-know-what.
Yes, exactly.
And nothing will happen to him. There's got to be some level-minded person at ESPN who might maybe lean a little to the right, who thinks, you know what, to compare the Tea Party to murderers and barbarians is a little bit much.
One would think. But, the ESPN
We should all
is
boycott his show.
ESPN is coward and sports is coward by political correctness, like so many other institutions. I mean, the only kind of thinking about the NFL, how politically correct the NFL is. I mean, the only one who's held out against political correctness is Dan Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, not changing the name. Randy in Crown Point.
Morning, guys. Dan, I know that you understand the Constitution. You're an attorney. But here's where I struggle with this whole thing. The First Amendment, the freedom of religion, has nothing to do with the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution. The Constitution states that the government cannot have a national religion.
Right.
If you go back historically, all those nations, England, France, Spain, they all had national religions. Our founders had enough knowledge and understanding of the significance of that they would not let the government have a religion saying this is a Baptist nation.
Yeah,
they won't.
That's
now,
right.
the second part of that, Dan, is that if you go back to the 19th century, there were still several states that had state religions, Virginia, North Carolina. They all did because they were governed by their state the way that it's supposed to be. The government had nothing to do with it.
Randy, got to jump. Sorry, Randy, but I appreciate the call.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. They really are just like your original ones. What you probably don't know is that not all implants are the same quality, and there are a lot of unqualified people doing implants.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it.
so I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. You'll be happy you did, and Foxford Periodontics.
Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
With ChicagoRadioDeals.com, seeing is believing, and you have to see the deal from Vision One LASIK Center. Get LASIK surgery on both eyes at their state-of-the-art center in Lombard for only $1,900. This is a $3,800 value. Start with a consultation at any of the Vision One LASIK centers in Arlington Heights, Chicago, or Lombard. Now, Vision One is a private practice with LASIK specialists Dr. Brand, Dr. Martin, and Dr. Berger. Hey, are you ready for this hot deal? Bikram Yoga of Rolling Meadows has a 10-class package at their beautiful studios on Hicks Road. Bikram Yoga is a series of 26 yoga postures and 2 breathing exercises. It's taught in a 90-minute class in a 105-degree setting. You will be sure to sweat. Their instructors are amazing. Now, this package retails for $130. Get this, it's only $50 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. We're also featuring fabulous deals for skincare like microdermabrasion from Hannah Facial Cosmetic Surgery of Hinsdale, or for the best in relaxation experience spa treatments at the Primal Ocean Salt Caves in LaGrange. All this and more can be found only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we have the owner of that restaurant in Indiana where you get 25% off your bill by carrying a concealed weapon.
but first, let's go back into the newsroom and get today's top stories from here at home and around the world. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 55 degrees. Rain holding off for just a moment. The winds out of the south at 11. Looks to be a busy day for House Republicans, hoping to calm the internal chaos ahead of the 2016 presidential campaign. A vote scheduled on a 2-year budget truce. And the GOP is set to nominate Representative Paul Ryan as the chamber's new speaker. And while the House may vote today on that big new budget deal, Congressman Jason Chaffetz says he will not be in favor.
I probably won't be voting for that bill. There are a lot of good things in it, a lot of progress, a lot of money for the military, which I do believe. But personally, I don't want to see the budget caps busted.
Utah Republicans saying he'd like to see more major reforms. African Union investigators say mass graves have been discovered in South Sudan. Horrific crimes against civilians, they say, including forced cannibalism in 2013. Federal Reserve not expected to increase interest rates in this country when it issues a statement this afternoon after a 2-day policy meeting. A South Carolina sheriff could make a decision as early as today about a deputy who flipped a student backward on her desk and then pulled her from that desk for refusing to leave a math class after texting and using a phone. Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott said once his agency's internal investigation is completed, he'll make a decision about whether to keep Senior Deputy Ben Fields on the force. Dennis Hastert has a court appearance today. It's expected to complete his fall from third in line for the presidency to felon. Former House Speaker is scheduled to plead guilty in a $3.5 million hush money case. Chicago sports, World Series Game 1, 5-hour affair. Royals over the Mets, 5-4. Bulls take Game 1 of the NBA season, a win over LeBron and the Cavaliers, 97-95. The news, a service of Unbound. At Unbound, you'll know who you're helping and what impact your support is having. Learn more at unbound.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Exergen temporal scanner thermometer is a must-have for all busy parents. With just one scan to the forehead, Exergen temporal scanner thermometer takes your child's temperature quickly and accurately. Available at Walgreens.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, I will make economic empowerment a priority.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
The smarter way to manage business expenses, presented by Concur.
After my conference, I checked out of the hotel and the bill was automatically added to my expense report. Then I hopped into a taxi. I snapped a photo of the receipt using Concur, and bam, there it was on my expense report. Then I used my corporate card to buy the client's lunch. Another charge added to my expense report.
Expense reports that write themselves. Just one of the many ways Concur helps manage your company's spend so you can focus on the big picture. Take a free test drive today at tryconcur.com.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
6:36. Let's get an update on your morning commute. In our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The outbound Eisenhower is a mess. Inbound as well. There's an outbound crash at York Road. 2 right lanes are blocked. Rollover semi. It's been there for a few hours now. It is jammed outbound from Laramie much of the way to York Road. An hour and 15 minutes downtown to Thorndale. 30 minutes to Manheim. Inbound delay started Addison Road. An hour 10, Thorndale to downtown. 35 minutes from Manheim. Eden's inbound 30 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 22. The Kennedy now 35 minutes, O'Hare to downtown outbound 40. Stevenson looking at a travel time now of an hour and 5 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The main delays are from LaGrange Road to Kedzie. Inbound Ryan running 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. On the tollways, we have a big delay on the eastbound Adams tollway from Roselle to Arlington Heights Road. An earlier crash is gone. Northbound Tri-State slow 115th to 87th, from Stevenson to 47th. Reagan tollway to 290. Traffic service for flu block. Not all flu vaccines are the same. This season, ask for flu block, the only pure choice. Flu block now available at Target and local retailers like Mariano's Pharmacies. For more information, go to askforflublock.com or talk to your healthcare professional. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Cloudy, breezy day ahead. Rain and drizzle in your forecast. High 57, more rain overnight. Low 36, cloudy, windy, 52 tomorrow. 52 right now. Next news at 7. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Amy, we mentioned the story yesterday, the story of the restaurant Papa Roo Po' Boys and Cajun Eats in Indianapolis, in the east side of Indianapolis. And the owner of that restaurant, Art Bouvier, after being robbed, he decided to enlist some help from his friends and patrons and give 25% off to anyone who came to patronize his restaurant that had a concealed carry permit.
Yeah, I drove down there yesterday to get you some sandwiches.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
It was really good.
Maybe now we can have Art Bouvier ship to Chicago.
Because they were kind of soggy after that 6-hour round trip.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Art Bouvier joins us now. Art, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
My goodness, you were all the way down here and you didn't even come and say hey to me.
We knew we were going to have you on today, so I didn't want to ruin it, the spontaneity.
She didn't want you to. She used my concealed carry permit, so she didn't want to get caught by the owner using someone else's.
No, wait. From Chicago?
Yeah, we have it in Illinois now. We joined the rest of the country recently.
Oh,
the last state to do so.
Yeah.
Big news.
Yeah, so save that 25% off special for me too when I come down. But just give us the backstory on what happened. Tell us the incident that sparked this idea you came up with?
Well, there's been a bit of a crime spree down here lately. They're hitting restaurants and bars, generally near the close of business, also near the end of the week, I guess in hopes of high cash deposits ready to be brought to the bank. They hit us Saturday night, and right near the close of business, we still had customers in the dining room, and a guy got in line and waited until he was the last one there, came up to the counter, and quietly kind of mumbled with his head down, and my cashier couldn't understand what he was saying, and after 3 attempts or so, finally caught on that he was saying, "Be cool, don't move, I have a gun, and I'm going to need all the money out of your registers."
So did she comply? Did she give him all the money out of your register?
Well, so my manager at that point thought that there was a problem with an order, so she came over, and again, it was, "Hey," I said, "don't move, and just give me your money, and I'll be on my way." And she convinced him that there was no way to open the registers without a purchase. And he, at that point, just grabbed the tip jar that was on the counter with really probably about $50 in it. And he's made his way out, and it was diffused immediately with no immediate, danger. So, the guy said he had a gun, and heck, I'm not going to call his bluff on it. But he left without brandishing it. And at that point, one of the customers in the dining room came up and said, "Yeah, I just want you to know, I kind of saw that all going down, and I could tell it was getting tense. I'm carrying right now, and if things went south, I had your back, but I'm not going to draw unless it's a matter of life and death." And I thought, that is a perfect attitude.
So then how did you get the idea to give everybody discounts?
Right. I thought if I can have more of that in my dining room, then the thug with the gun in his pocket is going to think twice, because really the question is, what was his end game? Was he going to draw the gun? Was he going to shoot somebody? And did he think that was because he was the only one in existence with a gun?
Right.
I don't want a bloodbath, but I do want that guy to think twice and maybe not even come in.
Right, and now it's become so publicized that you're incentivizing people with concealed carry permits to come to your restaurant. If I'm someone who's interested in robbing a restaurant or anybody else, I'm thinking Papa Roo may be last on my list.
Well, I would hope so. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't deter the crime in the entire city unless kind of everybody follows suit, or at least if we just get enough visibility about it that the criminals have no idea who's going to follow suit. And last night, a friend of mine's bar was hit, apparently by different people. This was 3 armed robbers who went around holding customers at gunpoint and collecting wallets.
Interesting. Now, you're a Cajun restaurant. Did you ever think, what would the Duck Dynasty boys do?
I've actually never seen the show. But yeah, I would imagine they'd make quick work of it.
So Art, what do you want to say to the critics who claim that this is all just a great big publicity stunt?
Well, isn't everything publicity, though, and really define stunt? Because I'm riding the wave. I'd be an ignorant businessman if I didn't. But I guess without really thinking it through, I made a rare decision on a polarizing topic. And how could it not get publicity? But gosh, I didn't even really think of it that way on Saturday night.
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, I wonder if this is changing minds. You mentioned some of your colleagues that own restaurants and bars on the east side of Indianapolis. I wonder if this has changed some minds, because around town in Chicago, we saw these restaurants who are completely buffaloed by the kind of the anti-gun politicians in this city to put those little stickers on their windows that say, don't bring guns into this restaurant or this bar, in office buildings as well. And I wonder if you see that in Indianapolis, and maybe some people are rethinking that.
Well, currently it's the big corporate players that are going that route, and I imagine they don't have a choice at their franchise.
Right.
But, I don't understand what everybody's thinking. The thug's going to say, "Oh, wow, I can't go in there."
It's got a sticker.
Really?
Yeah, right. Look at that sticker.
Hey, Art, did they catch the man who robbed the tip jar?
I actually did not pursue it for several reasons. One, and this is actually very important to any business owners in the Chicago area that are hearing this, my security footage was useless. It was declared completely useless by the police because I had a traditional ceiling mount security system. And these guys are coming in with hoods and visors, and they keep their face down. And I have a really great view of the guy's hoodie. I can tell you what kind of hat he was wearing. That's about all I know.
One of our texters asked, did he present any identification that would indicate he was an agent with the IRS, perhaps? And this is all a big misunderstanding, which is the IRS shaking you down.
I mean, that's a joke, right?
Yeah, it's a joke.
So, Art, how long are you going to keep this 25% discount to those who have a concealed carry?
It's, at this point, indefinite. I've already crunched the numbers a little bit, and I can afford to do this for my legal, law-abiding, stable customers, and I see no reason to not.
And what's been the response so far, just in the few days since this has been announced and generated so much pub?
Yeah, the response is incredible. We are, I mean, it's created 3 jobs in the restaurant already. In 2 days, I've had to hire 3 more people.
Wow.
It's spiked my business between 300 and 400%.
Wow. That's great.
Wow. If nothing else.
And how's the quality of your food? How's the quality of your food?
Well, the quality is the same as always. It's as good as humanly possible.
There you go. I'll tell you, this, if nothing else, the economics of it have to encourage your comrades in the restaurant and bar business to follow suit, right?
Well, now think of the economics in a bigger sense, not just what's happening for us, but now my vendors are seeing me buying 3 to 4 times as much food. In order to work a shift that long and tiring, we're throwing bonuses to the crew, so they're making up to twice as much money. I don't mean they're working twice as long. I mean they are making twice as much money per hour while we're doing the bonuses to keep them motivated. This is good for everybody.
I'll tell you what. Here's just an idea. I mean, just trying to vertically integrate. Why don't you put like a 50-foot handgun range in back of the restaurant, so people can kind of do
redesigning the menu with laser tag targets to where people just shoot to take out what they want.
That's awesome.
That
go
would be
straight
over
to
the
the
top.
kitchen. Oh,
all right. Good stuff. Art Bouvier, he is the owner of Papa Roo Po' Boys and Cajun Eats on east side of Indianapolis, 10th Street at Post Road. So if you're in or around Indy, you want to stop in and see Art at Papa Roo Po' Boys. Art, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Cloudy and breezy, rain and drizzle on and off this morning, then a shower this afternoon. Just a yucky day all around. A high of 57. Tonight, evening showers and spots. Cold, a low of 36 degrees. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, windy. Still brisk out there, a high of 52. Let's get the travel times and a man who's very busy this morning, Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Good morning. We'll start with some good news. If you did want to go down to Indianapolis and Papa Roo, you'll find no delays on I-65 or any of the other interstates in northwest Indiana. Chicago traffic, on the other hand, the Eisenhower's a mess. An outbound crash at York Road has been there for about 3.5 hours now. 2 right lanes have been blocked all morning. We're looking at a travel time right now on that outbound side of 1 hour and 35 minutes. Downtown to Thorndale, 50 minutes to Manheim. Inbound, it's 1 hour and 15 minutes Thorndale to downtown, 45 from Manheim. The Edens, 30 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy, 35 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 40, but the numbers are going up quickly. The Stevenson, 1 hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 45 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 40 minutes to 355. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tollways are heavy too. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Apple's strong quarterly results, the Fed's announcement on interest rates, and crude oil prices all will likely drive market direction today. Those stories next.
Are you nearing eligibility for Medicare benefits? Then you know now is an important time in your life. Medicare benefits can be a complicated puzzle. You don't want to overpay for your Medicare coverage or get the wrong plan. Let Health Markets Insurance Agency help you. With one free phone call, a licensed insurance agent will help you select a Medicare plan that's right for you and your budget. If you're becoming eligible for Medicare, call today and learn how to get the most out of your benefits.
800-608-1392. 800-608-1392.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA or assumed name of InSphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., which is an authorized insurance agency in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products. Service and product availability varies by state.
Call 800-608-1392. 800-608-1392. 800-608-1392. That's 800-608-1392.
The Fed's announcement on interest rates and corporate developments will be the focus of Wall Street. Investors analyzing earnings from Apple, Hess, Norfolk Southern, Twitter, and Walgreens. We'll see whether Walgreens' quarterly results add to the excitement surrounding its plans to buy Rite Aid for $9 a share. Apple stock moving higher in extended trading. A 22% jump in iPhone sales, helping Apple top earnings and revenue targets. Investors also considering the latest reports on U.S. trade and the Energy Department's report on crude oil inventories. Concerns about the oversupply global oil market, combined with plans to sell millions of barrels of our strategic petroleum reserve, driving December crude to a 2-month low yesterday. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
My brother Chris is allergic to talking about retirement. Bring up his future and you'll get glazed eyes and awkward answers. Don't believe me? Let's try it. Chris, when will you retire?
Ha! You darn right I like nachos.
See what I mean? Chris, do you have a retirement account?
It's gotta be the right kind of cheese.
One last time. Are you ever going to retire?
And don't forget jalapenos. I love jalapenos.
Good for you, buddy.
Avoiding the retirement conversation? At the Mutual Fund Store, we get it, and our advisors are here to help. Whether you're storing 401k statements in a shoebox, can't tell a traditional from a Roth IRA, or include piggy bank as one of your retirement accounts, there are no judgments here. We'll simply sit down with you one-on-one, talk about where you're at, and help you put a plan in place to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Let's get the conversation started today with a free consultation.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I hate veggies, so this was a perfect way to get vitamins and veggies that worked with my body.
I do feel better, but as far as health-wise goes, I used to have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I'm not doing that anymore. The ringing in my ear is a lot less than what it used to be. Those are the two things right away that I noticed, and I'm not as hungry as I used to be also.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Planned Parenthood offices in Texas were raided by Texas officials, and now the 11th video from the Center for Medical Progress has made its way out. It features Amna Dermish, who's the doctor at Planned Parenthood Austin, Texas. Here's what Anna Dermish has to say about late-term abortions and trying to get an intact brain.
Do you use ultrasound guidance for that? Yeah. So can you convert to breech?
I can if I need to, and if it's I generally don't have to do that I don't usually do it in the 16 to 18 weeks because I don't really need to.
It's just not necessary.
With a further gestation, I will sometimes do that if it's a cephalic presentation, just because it's easier to get. So
because that's what Deb was telling us really makes a difference for tissue collection at PPLA. Yeah, is that if you convert to she said if you convert to breech, she says then you get she said you get increasing dilation as the case goes on, and then she said at the very end she's like you can even evacuate the entire calvarium intact if you you need to, which you do if there's a request for fetal brain. They're always wanting both hemispheres, and so
I haven't been able to do that yet.
To get the calvarium? It's like maybe next time.
I know, right? Well, this will give me something to strive for.
Exactly.
That's funny, isn't it? Trying to get the calvarium, the human brain, baby's brain out intact. That's what they're talking about. And we talked about Koskinen, John Koskinen, the IRS commissioner, who's facing impeachment for, among other things, lying to Congress. Of course, no consequences for Hillary for lying to Congress, no consequences for Cecile the Lion, Cecile Richards, the head of Planned Parenthood.
She came, she went, she testified,
Right.
nothing done, not even a hand slap.
Right. And
maybe she was a little nervous up there when she was testifying, but that's about it.
And when you hear the cackling about taking a baby's brain out of its head at 20, 21, 22 weeks, which is what they're talking about in this video, think about that when you think about Mark Kirk voting to continue to send your taxpayer dollars to fund this organization and its outposts. Think about that. And then think about not voting for Mark Kirk, because maybe we can't get law enforcement in this state, we can't get the political ruling class in this state to pay attention because there haven't been consequences imposed in terms of political futures. Maybe we can't get the Department of Justice under this administration to do anything. But you can still register your disgust at politicians who are in bed with the likes of Planned Parenthood by ending their political careers. And Mark Kirk is up in 2016.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is if you don't have an estate plan, everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 here on AM 560 The Answer, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. Once again, 630-873-6326.
Gentlemen, Dan Proft here. When it comes to your health, do you know your numbers? You may know your blood pressure and cholesterol, but do you know your testosterone? I do. Low T Center makes it easy. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and know your results within minutes. If you're a man over 40 and have noticed a decline in energy, stamina, or libido, you may have low testosterone. Low T makes you feel tired and grumpy, can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. At Low T Center, it takes just minutes for results, and services are covered by most health insurance. They even have convenient and flexible hours, so do yourself a favor and get your levels checked. Call 630-409-4305. Again, 630-409-4305, or you can go to lowtcenter.com and tell them Dan Proft sent you.
What could you do with an extra $500, $1,000, or even $1,500 per month? How would that change things for you? Would you buy a new car, pay off bills, or just feel a bit more secure about your retirement? What if I told you there may be a way to make your dreams a reality? I'm talking about trading and investing in the market. Now, before you say, oh no, that's not for me, just hear me out. I want to invite you to a free trading and investing class so you can check this out. And right now, if you call in and mention Offer Radio 50, Online Trading Academy will comp the class and even send you home with a free $247 home study program. Call right now and reserve your seat while space is still available. Call 888-601-TRADE. Call 888-601-TRADE. Mention Offer Radio 50. Call 888-601-TRADE or online at otaclass.com. That's 888-601-8723 or otaclass.com.
Allegations allegations of excessive force and racial bias over a student's arrest in South Carolina. Were his actions justified? We'll discuss.
And at 7:17, Steve Moore explains to us why the House GOP budget deal is the worst since George H.W. Bush's no new taxes pledge was broken.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
The economy, a big topic tonight at the Republican presidential debate. Fox with the latest. And a former speaker expected to plead guilty in Chicago. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
I'm Dave Anthony. Republicans running for president are getting ready for prime time again.
Republicans and conservatives win when we have a hopeful, optimistic message.
Can Jeb Bush turn things around at tonight's debate? And what will Donald Trump say? Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live in Boulder, Colorado.
Donald Trump comes into this third debate with some loss. Luster falling to second place initially in Iowa and now a national poll behind retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson.
But what's happened in Iowa, it's been really incredible. We've had some amazing results, and they continue to come in. Get a little shake-up in Iowa. I don't know what's going on.
Trump has been critical of those polls and of Carson, questioning his conservative credentials and his soft-spoken manner. Carson defending his energy level, but says he won't sling mud. As we've seen in past debates, 2 sessions tonight, the 4 lower-polling candidates early, the top 10 in prime time. Dave.
Jared, House Republicans plan to vote today on the 2-year budget deal worked out with the White House that some conservatives don't like. The South Carolina sheriff's deputy seen in viral video dragging a girl out of her desk, arresting her at her high school, could be fired as soon as today, though there is other video.
It actually shows the student hitting the school resource officer with her fist.
But Sheriff Leon Lott says it's the deputy's actions he's worried about. An instant classic to start the fall classic. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso was at Game 1 of the World Series, now live in Kansas City.
El City's Escobar started the World Series, the first Kansas City at-bat, with a jolt and an inside-the-park home run. Over 5 hours later, the Royals win it.
It is something great.
Kansas City's going to take it all.
The key for the Mets is they have to do more bunting and more hitting and running like the Royals do. Don't just sit back and wait for the home run. If the Mets do that, then they win.
It was the longest Game 1 in World Series history. The winning run happened after midnight, and baseball fans, Dave, are back for more with Game 2 tonight here at the K in Kansas City.
Well, Jeff, there was drama in the game. A Fox TV power outage interrupted play, and heartbreak for the Royals starting pitcher Edison Volquez. His father died hours before the game. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 55 degrees. Winds out of the south at 11. 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert scheduled to plead guilty today in his hush money case as part of an agreement with prosecutors ending a long fall from grace. But as our David Stewart reports, the plea deal will not end questions about the former high school coach and teacher, once third in line for the presidency.
Hastert is expected to admit trying to disguise the number of bank withdrawals he made for hush money payments to a person known only as Individual A to buy that person's silence about incidents in Hastert's past. It's not in the indictment, but federal sources have said the incidents involved sexual abuse of a student during Hastert's days at Yorkville High. The guilty plea means there won't be a trial, so the identity of Hastert's alleged blackmailer and the identity of his reported victim may never be known. It's not clear if the guilty plea will mean a prison sentence for Hastert. David Stewart, Chicago.
Chicago's City Council will take up a proposed budget that includes a massive property tax hike and other fees to close shortfalls and address an underfunded pension system. The City Council may also vote on plans for filmmaker George Lucas's proposed museum. A Northwest Indiana police chief says an elderly man called 911 and did not receive emergency care for 47 minutes because of dispatch problems. Griffith Police Chief Greg Mance says the man in his 80s later died. His name is not immediately available. Big deal in the drugstore business. Walgreens buying one of its biggest rivals. The Deerfield-based company announcing they've agreed to acquire Rite Aid for just over $17 billion. World Series Game 1 goes to the Royals over the Mets, 5-4. NBA season Game 1 goes to the Bulls over the Cavaliers, 97-95. The news, a service of UPSJobs.com, seeking part-time package handlers throughout Chicagoland, but especially in Northbrook, Palatine, Franklin Park, and Bedford Park. Package handlers can graduate debt-free with up to $25,000 in education assistance. Apply now at UPSJobs.com/radio and get there with UPS. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only.
One day only.
With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Health Mart.
It's the Can-Am Spyder Yellow Tag event, and it's time to experience the ultimate thrill ride. Hit the open road on a Can-Am Spyder. With its unique Y-frame design, you can ride all day with total freedom and confidence. Hurry in by October 31st and save up to $3,000 on select 2015 Can-Am Spyder models. Plus, get up to a 3-year warranty.
Visit iMotorsports in Elmhurst or online at iMotorsportsinc.com.
Restrictions may apply. See your dealer for details.
7:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest this morning with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The outbound Eisenhower has huge delays from Cicero to York Road with a crash in the two right lanes. Been there for hours. There's also one at St. Charles in the left lane. It's an hour and 35 minutes downtown to Thorndale in about an hour 15. Eden's now 40 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. Kennedy 40 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound an hour. Inbound Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 55 minutes. Orion, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, slow Belmont to Fullerton, crash in the left lane. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State, slow 115th, most of the way to 47th. From the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Traffic, service of the Milwaukee Airport with all the major U.S. airlines. Great fares, lots of nonstops, and parking as low as $7 a day. The Milwaukee Airport makes travelers happy even before they check in. Visit flymke.com. Learn why Milwaukee's airport is the O'Hare alternative. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, cloudy and breezy. Occasional rain and drizzle for the morning, followed by a passing shower for the afternoon, high 57. An evening shower and spots, otherwise mostly cloudy and windy tonight, colder with a low 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
52 O'Hare, 54 along Chicago's lakefront. Next news at 7:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. On AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
An FBI investigation is underway right now after allegations of excessive force and racial bias. And the officer who slammed the 16-year-old girl to the floor and dragged her across the room could find out today if he'll lose his job.
The president watched the Bulls win by 2 tonight, but basketball definitely not the only reason he's in town.
It doesn't mean each case is a problem. It means that when you aggregate all the cases and you look at it, you've got to say that there's some racial bias in the system.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so this video from, Spring Valley?
Yes, Richland County, South Carolina. It's Columbia, South Carolina, Spring Valley High School.
Yeah, this video of the girl who was disrupting class.
Well, she was in math class and she was texting, and the teacher said, put away your cell phone, stop texting. And she didn't listen and she kept texting. Right. And then he called in an administrator and he came in the room and said, please, we've asked you to stop texting, put your phone away. And she refused. Then that is when they called in Brian Fields, who's a school resource officer, and she still wouldn't put the phone down. Basically, he tore her out of her desk. Everyone has seen the video.
Right. Doesn't translate on radio. So
that translated to me. It sounded like a takedown. And she, if you've seen the video too, she was stuck in her desk. She refused to get out. So that's why she could have broken her neck when he took her down. She apparently has rug burns this morning, according to her attorney, because she's a victim here. Dan, here's her attorney.
I mean, this is someone that is physically in pain because of what she endured, and the world watched what she endured as she literally flew across the classroom.
So, as I said, she disrupted class, and she continued disrupting class. An officer is called in. The officer asks her to stop. Then he puts his hands on her, and she, according to the sheriff, the Richland County Sheriff, she reaches up and pops the officer with her fist. That's what the sheriff said.
Yeah, that's a third video, but they haven't released it yet. We've seen these two videos, but the third one, he said, does show her punching him in the head. Here's Sheriff Leon Lott.
It just shows that as when the officer puts his hands on her initially, she reaches up and she pops the officer with her fist. It makes you sick to your stomach when you see that initial video. But again, that's a snapshot.
So this morning he's on unpaid leave. He's going to find out later today whether or not he gets to keep his job.
So
it's allegation of excessive force or racial bias. 312-642-5600. That's what they're looking at right now.
So after she pops him with her fist, then the desk flipped over. She's still in the desk chair thing, and then it's dragged across, as you see in the video. So the issue, there's a couple of issues. One is an issue of escalation. Clearly, she was being disruptive, and she initiated this confrontation that could have easily been avoided. But even at the point where, assuming all things that have been reported are true, that she hit the officer, that's still a time where I don't think it's reasonable that he feared for his safety. I think he lost his temper, and particularly with an insubordinate minor. And he escalated a situation he should have de-escalated, because that's what police are there to do. They have to protect themselves, of course, but they're generally there to de-escalate the situation. He didn't do that. That's a problem. I want to raise one more issue, though, because it was brought up in, and this is a more kind of global issue, these isolated incidents that we blow way out of proportion and make, kind of pretend that they're standard issue across the nation, and we have to have a national discussion in a beer seminar. There's a piece in The Atlantic that points out that South Carolina is one of 19 states that still allow corporal punishment in schools. Mm-hmm. And they do so in loco parentis. They put the school in place of the parents, so they don't need parental permission to mete out corporal punishment. So when you think about...
That was corporal punishment.
Well, that's not what we're talking about, obviously.
No, I know.
Yes.
But still...
But so the question is...
They can put their hands on their kids.
Yeah, the important question is, 19 states allow for corporal punishment. Do you think that's a good idea? I mean, I remember Catholic school and getting rapped on the knuckles by a nun and, swatted on the behind by my gym teacher when I was acting out. It wasn't video, so I couldn't become a national celebrity over
Darn it, Dan.
But I mean, I think that's part of the question too, is just the idea of school, corporal punishment in schools. Is that something that is legitimate? Would it have been legitimate at some level when, with this disruptive student, you just rip the cell phone out of her hand, for example? Is that some or?
Oh, she was tucking it in though. She was so defiant. I mean, as somebody who used to teach in CPS, I wanted to smack her just watching this video, because it could have been. Well, so it could have been resolved so easily. But here's the deal.
So we've got your answer on corporal punishment.
The sheriff called the Department of Justice, and the sheriff called the FBI, because now it's a racial issue because he's white and she's black.
Yeah, of course.
And I have an easy solution. Don't have a white police officer arrest a black student or person if they can wait for a black officer to arrive on the scene. She wasn't going anywhere, Dan. She was sitting in her chair.
No,
she wasn't going to go anywhere.
Not.
You wouldn't have the racial bias aspect of this.
Not.
You wouldn't if it was a black on black crime.
You're caving into the ignorance. Absolutely not. That is saying we can't have a black president because only 12% of the nation is black. So we have to have a president who is representative of the majority. We can't have a black state rep represent white people. We can't have a white state representative black people. That is ridiculous. That is insane.
Politicians aren't arresting people.
Black police officers can arrest white scofflaws, white lawbreakers, and Hispanics can arrest blacks, and blacks can arrest blacks. This is nonsense getting into this. Hold on. I know we're in a shootout, but I'm a white officer.
This isn't a shootout.
That's
I'm just saying in this situation, they could have waited for a black sheriff's deputy to show up because she wasn't going anywhere. She was just going to sit there in math class and text.
And that is completely abdicating to the race hustlers.
Well,
that kind of policy.
You wouldn't have the FBI and the DOJ investigating if it was black on black.
Not true. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, perfect. Couple things wrong with the scenario. One, you see in the behavior of the student the full blossoming of the entitlement mentality. I can do what I want. And number two, as far as the police officer goes, her compliance would have been such much easier if he'd have just punched her in the face first and knocked her out. Just taking her out of the chair when she's unconscious, it would have just been a simple slip her right out, lay her on the floor.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. We know
it was quite the takedown. I mean, did he work for the WWE before this?
We know Ralph's position on corporal punishment.
Yes, we
Carl
do.
in Orland Park.
Hi. Question. Why do we have police officers enforcing cell phone rules and defying them? It's not a crime.
No,
it is not a crime. Whether you're a liaison officer or not, it's not a crime.
Carl, what you have is you have police officers present in schools because the teachers and administrators can't keep the peace. That's what you have.
Exactly. Thank you, Dan. I'm glad you pointed that out. Exactly. They reap what they sow. They're going to reap what they sow. That's all.
Thanks for the call, Carl. Amy on the south side.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi. Well, I'm a teacher. I kind of take offense at what that man just said, because teachers and administrators can only can uphold the rules of the school, but if the students haven't been taught at home that they need to respect authority, then the teachers and the administrators are going to have a problem. But that's a side note.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, it's a societal disease. But aside from that, this student was clearly asked nicely multiple times. And all we've left is they say, well, you should just ask them nicely, and then they'll do what they're told. No, she was asked nicely over and over and over until they had to bring in a heavier authority, and she still refused. So what do you expect when you refuse authoritative demands and you put the police officers in a position where they have to use force? They don't have any other options. They have to uphold rules and laws, and that's their job. That officer was doing his job. I'm just so sick of this society and what is going on with everybody.
Thanks for the call, Amy. Mike in Lake Forest.
Hey, Amy, Mike, you know what? I hate to do this, but now you're the new Billy Madison. What you just said made us all dumber. My kid is white. If he breaks the law, we have to wait for a white policeman? You know what the difference is?
I'm saying in that situation, she wasn't going anywhere. She was sitting in her desk. She wasn't threatening anybody physically. She was just being a snot-nosed punk, kid. And they could have waited for a black county sheriff to show up because now you wouldn't have this racial bias aspect of it.
Insane.
Yeah, you know what? My kid, when he does something wrong, let me tell you, the both of you, he's worried about my wife, his mother. He's not worried about the police.
Well, you're raising a good man.
What? Yeah,
I mean,
as
long as your wife is white, Mike. Thanks for the call, Mike. Bill on the south side.
Hello.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Hey, you guys are really talking about de-escalating the situation, being police. I was a former police officer for 15 years. I did side work in the alternative schools. I just want to tell you that these teachers are really abused verbally and physically, and they really take a lot of abuse. They can't just sit there and wait for a student to exit the classroom all day. Like I said, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback things, but when you're put in that job, you're not paid to sit there and wait to de-escalate it. You're paid to use force. And there's actually a use of force chart that you use, and you go one step above of whatever that person is at. Okay, so, I mean, if they're sitting there and they're being non-combative, but they're not complying with you, of course, you have to use the next step is physical force, or you're going to go to a non-lethal force.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Bill. I mean, I don't disagree with the premise of what you said. I don't think that what we saw in that video is on that chart, though, in terms of the escalation of force.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Plenty of clouds and light rain on and off throughout the day. A shower by this afternoon, a high of 57 degrees. Tonight, showers in spots, a low of 36 degrees. Might want to cover your mums. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy and windy, a high of 52. Travel times, he's very busy. How's the Jane Addams Tollway? Here's Jim Telemonte with the answer.
It's brutal, Amy, along with pretty much everything else. And in fact, in Hinsdale, everything's shut down on Metra's BNSF line. There's been a collision involving a train and a car. No train movement past Hinsdale right now, inbound or outbound. On that eastbound Adams Tollway, delays are heavy from Roselle to 53, then from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee. Northbound Tri-State slow 115th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway delays 31 to 59 and 22nd to 290. Veterans Memorial slow I-55 most of the way to Roosevelt, and the Army Trail toll to 290. The Edens is 40 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. The Kennedy, 42 minutes O'Hare to downtown outbound an hour. The Eisenhower, an hour 15. Thorndale to the post office, outbound an hour 35. Two right lanes still blocked at York Road. Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 55 minutes. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
I know you want to work with a Chicagoland real estate agent with qualified buyers who can guarantee to sell your home. That's why you should call Saul Z and the Z team. The average agent sells 8 homes a year. As a top agent with great marketing, Saul averages over 300. If 29 days pass without a sale on your listing, Saul will buy it. And working with Saul won't obligate you to anything. If you aren't happy, you just cancel the contract. For example, Jason had his Hinsdale home on the market for 10 months with another agent. He switched the listing to Saul, and in a very short time, the home sold for $806,000, a full $37,000 above the original list price. It's one of the reasons the Wall Street Journal ranks Saul among the top 250 agents in the country. I know I'll be calling Saul when I'm ready to sell my well-appointed condo or buy a new home somewhere far away from Chicago. So go to callsaul.net. That's callsaul, SAUL.net, to find out what your home is worth. Or call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666 and start packing.
Have you heard the phrase, all things basement-y? Are you wondering what that means? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer. For over 36 years, Permaseal has been the company you've trusted with your waterproofing issues. But I want you to know that we're much more than just a waterproofer. From sump pumps and sewer backup prevention systems to crawl space encapsulation and basement windows, we offer everything necessary to keep your home dry and healthy. Are any of these concerns catching your attention? If so, give us a call at 800-421-SEAL to schedule a free, no-obligation inspection with one of our certified consultants. Our Permaseal team takes great pride in offering you a superior customer experience and the very best solutions for all of your basement, crawl space, and foundation repair issues. Give Permaseal a call today at 800-421-SEAL. All things basement-y. Doesn't that make sense? 800-421-SEAL or visit Permaseal.net. Permaseal has earned an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau.
Don't best for free and better Permaseal.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, that song means it's time for the Sultan of Supply-Side Economics, an angry, I think, based on this op-ed I read that Steve Moore wrote on FoxNews.com yesterday, an angry chief economist of the Heritage Foundation, Steve Moore, joins us now. Steve, is it just because you didn't get to see Game 5 Cubs-Mets?
Good morning, guys. Well, yeah, I'm seething with anger. I mean, I think this was an incredible capitulation to Obama, and I don't see what Republicans got out of it. You know, it does three things, Dan, that I find odious. Number one, it raises the debt ceiling without any conditions, no conditions attached. So, you know, can you imagine a business that's, you know, in financial trouble and going bankrupt, going to a bank and just saying, give me extension of my credit, and then not having any kind of reconfiguration of their budget plan or anything like that? I mean, it's just absurd to me when you have an $18 trillion in debt federal government that we're not imposing any new budget discipline on them. Number two, it gets rid of the budget caps. And as we've talked about many times on the show, the budget caps has been one of the few victories Republicans have had over Obama in the last 7 years. We impose these budget caps. They have worked. They have brought down spending. Those are gone. And worst of all, third, we get rid of the sequester cuts. And those sequester cuts have worked very well to bring down spending. So this is like a fiscal jailbreak for Obama, and he gave up almost nothing.
President Obama said that it won't increase the budget deficit, though, Stephen Moore.
Well, it's interesting how they do accounting, Amy. So what they do is the spending is going to go up by about $300 billion in 2016. That's $300 billion. That's almost a $1 billion extra spending per day. What they do is the way they come up with these phony numbers is they say, well, over 10 years, it's actually going to be budget neutral because they've got all these phony budget cuts in the future. For example, they say, we're going to sell oil from the Naval Petroleum Reserve. First of all, why would you sell the oil now when the price is so low at $40 a barrel? I mean, the federal government is the only institution in the world that buys the oil expensive and sells it cheap. But those are just stupid reforms.
Well, Steve, in terms of the debt ceiling, I mean, does the debt ceiling even matter? Forget the $18 trillion in debt. We've got another $80 to $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. So are we serious about this?
Well, look, there's a difference between unfunded liability where you.
Oh no! But no.
Wow.
Well, the debt ceiling raising of it matters to Senator Rand Paul. He's going to filibuster it.
Yeah, well,
he came out and said, I've got an announcement to make. I'm going to be talking, folks, for a very, very, very long time.
He's going to make up for the lack of a Rand Paul presence in the campaign and on the debate stage.
It's free advertisement.
Yeah, see if he could filibuster tonight's debate and try and get back into this race.
Yeah, because the focus tonight is going to be about money.
CNBC.
CNBC, yes.
John Harwood is moderating, which is a point of some controversy. It'll be interesting to see if he asks questions in the form of some of his rather anti-GOP tweets and how some of those candidates, other than Trump,
well, that's right.
who
You
loves
read some
to beat up,
yesterday.
who loves to beat up the media and effectively does so. Because I mean, if there's one thing we've learned from who the two frontrunners are, Carson and Trump, one thing we've learned: being hated on by the Washington press corps is a very good thing if you're a Republican presidential candidate. It's something that maybe the Jeb Bushes and some of the other candidates might want to take notice of, the candidates that are more inclined to try and sidle up to the Washington press corps. Steve Moore is back after being cut off by John Boehner. Steve.
I think it's Boehner Pelosi. It's a bipartisan conspiracy.
There you go. So you were explaining why the debt ceiling is important.
So because it's $18 trillion, soon it's $20 trillion. And what I was saying before Boehner cut me off was that these levels of debt, 100% of our GDP, they remind me of Greece. They remind me of Detroit. They remind me of Illinois.
Yes.
Those are not good numbers. We got to bring the debt down. And let me just say this: when you have a Republican House and a Republican Senate, and I've asked Barack Obama a lot on this show over the years, but I will say this: we cannot blame this on Barack Obama because you know who has the power of the purse? The Congress does. The last time I checked, guys, the Congress is run by Republicans. If we're spending and borrowing too much, we can't blame that on Barack Obama, although partially we can. It's the Republicans have decided they want to spend like drunken sailors, just like the Democrats.
So is there anything in it for the Republicans in the Republican Party?
Look, there are some reforms. If you read the Wall Street Journal today, they say there's some, nice reforms in the disability program.
Yeah.
Social Security disability.
Yeah, not
I'm
really.
just trying to put look, but here's the point. We fought, remember the fiscal cliff deal? We fought like tooth and nail to get these reforms out of Obama, and the left hates sequester. The sequester was like putting a cross in front of a vampire. They hated it. And you know what happened, guys? I mean, I got to be honest here. Republicans don't want to cut spending any more than the Democrats do.
Yep,
that's
it.
Well, don't you guys think anything will be different once Paul Ryan takes over?
Yes,
Or
yes,
same
I do.
old, same old?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's the only bright cloud. But Paul Ryan said yesterday, this process sticks. The process by which the smoke-filled rooms where 3 or 4 people decide what the budget of the United States government is going to be. He's right. The process does stink. But you know what? The outcome is even worse. It's not just the process, Paul. It's the outcome. Republicans are basically giving away the store, and Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi are basically laughing all the way to the bank.
I want to end on a note of optimism, get you back to your happy place before we let you go. The impeachment of IRS Commissioner John Koskinen.
Yeah, I think he should be impeached. I think that the activities of the IRS have been truly un-American. The fact that they have targeted conservative groups, that they have basically turned the Gestapo of the IRS agents on groups whose political philosophy they disagree with, that's un-American, and it should be impeached. And one last thing. When the debate is tonight, isn't it?
Yes.
The first question to be asked every single one of these candidates
XM
should
Bank.
be, do you? Well, no, that's the second question. The first is, do you support this budget deal? Do you support this increase in spending and debt? Because if they do, they're off my list.
All right, Steve Moore, Chief Economist, Heritage Foundation. Steve, thanks as always for joining us.
Okay,
Appreciate
see you
it.
guys. Go Northwestern.
And he joins us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook, or that your mom loved to dance, a person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
Oh, I wish this bag under my eye would just go away. Hey, if that sounds like you every day, you're not alone. Bags and puffiness under the eyes are a problem for millions of American men. That's right, you men out there. And of course, women too. That is until now. Introducing the new Genucell serum with plant stem cell technology from Chamonix. They take the plant stem cell from a Swiss apple. I've been using it for 3 months. My sister uses it. Her skin is glowing, wrinkles gone, bags and puffiness, not a problem. And with its instant effects, which is a separate product, you'll see results in the first 12 hours or your money back. The company guarantees it. So call now and save big on Genucell's risk-free introductory offer. Call 800-525-8323. Men, you should call this number, 800-525-8323. Call right now and start taking care of your skin. And if you do call now, guess what? You'll get the amazing Esotique face cream as a special gift simply by placing your order. That number again, 800-525-8323, 800-525-8323.
AM 560. The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Chess grandmaster turned human rights activist Gary Kasparov joins us to explain how Putin is checkmating the United States at 7:37.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Outside, we have clouds, 55 degrees, winds out of the south at 10. Flag of truce could fly today if the House, heeding the urgings of various congressional leaders, passes a budget that could possibly end a government shutdown or default on debt through the 2016 presidential election. Police departments across the country have gotten an FBI bulletin this morning. Prepare for a possible Halloween ambush. The New York Post says the FBI sent that out, warning an anarchist group may be planning to use Halloween festivities as cover for their ambush plan. NASA's year-long spaceman Scott Kelly on his first spacewalk. Just hours before setting a new U.S. flight record, Kelly and Kjell Lindgren will grease the station's big robot arm, route cables, and remove some insulation from a switching unit. Ahead of the third Republican debate tonight, Marco Rubio is answering a few questions that he says will not be asked in the debate.
Who would win in a fight, Spider-Man or Batman?
Spider-Man or Batman?
Yep.
Probably Batman.
Least favorite vegetable?
It's not a vegetable. I don't like mushrooms.
Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
TV show you DVR.
Ballers on HBO.
The new video just posted by the Florida Senator's campaign features Rubio answering questions like that. He'll answer some tougher questions on the main stage of the third Republican debate tonight. CNBC airing that event at 7 p.m. Central. Federal Reserve wrapping up its two-day meeting today, all but certain they will hold off on increasing any interest rates from record lows. Here in Chicago, former House Speaker Dennis Hastert scheduled to plead guilty in his hush money case at the Dirksen Federal Building. Mayor Emanuel's 2016 budget, along with its giant property tax increase, is headed to a full vote by the City Council, as is the Lucas Museum proposal along the Lake Michigan lakefront. Credit ratings have been lowered at 6 Illinois universities because of the budget standoff in Springfield. Downgraded ratings for Eastern, Governor State, Northeastern Illinois, Northern Illinois, Southern, and Western Illinois universities. World Series Game 1 goes to the Royals 5-4 over the Mets. And the Bulls were winners over the Cavaliers last night, 97-95. The news is a service of UPSJobs.com, seeking part-time package handlers throughout Chicagoland, but especially in Northbrook, Palatine, Franklin Park, and Bedford Park. Package handlers can graduate debt-free with up to $25,000 in education assistance. Apply now at UPSJobs.com/radio. Get there with UPS. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, education will be at the top of my priorities.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
This is Michelle DeVal from DeVal Jewelers. Dennis and I want you to know that when you sell your diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, and estate jewelry to us, we will strive to give you the highest cash payment possible.
And all transactions are strictly confidential. There's absolutely no pressure. And like Michelle said, we can pay you 50% more by eliminating the middleman. Why? Because we are direct buyers.
We buy certified diamonds and
Putin creates a cultural violence there. The region is so explosive that he will win. And just imagine, something goes wrong with Israel,
What's going to win? What's Putin going to win?
Chaos. That's what he needs, chaos. Total destruction of the world order. American allies, for generations, they are in trouble now, and Obama walks away.
And taste preference.
Правильно, так и есть.
Well, you're right. We support the legitimate government of Syria.
Глубокому убеждению. А как вы считаете, правильно ли поступают?
Well, tell me, what do you think about those who support the opposition, and mainly the terrorist organizations, only in order to oust Assad?
Россия не будет участвовать ни в каких.
Russia will not participate in any troop operations in the territory of
treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
The gospel truth about it is that the thing I'm most excited about is that after having my gallbladder out 3 years ago, I had constant pain in my side that was something that they couldn't attribute to anything other than probably a poor diet. Since I've been on these supplements, is really making a difference in my life. I feel better. I have no pain.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
7:38 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Mike. Metra's BNSF line remains shut down in Hinsdale after a collision involving a train and a car. The Edens is 40 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. Kennedy, an hour and 5 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. The Ike, an hour and 15 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound, an hour and 45 minutes. Two right lanes still blocked at York Road after an early morning rollover. Stevenson, an hour and 20 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. Ryan, 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tollways all heavy. Traffic service of the Foundation for a Better Life. Mr. Rogers passed along friendship, hoping we would too. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, breezy, rain and drizzle this morning. Heavier showers possible this afternoon, high 57. 55 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Ayn Rand Institute and the Yaron Brook Show. Heard Saturday afternoons at 4 here on AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, recently Gary Kasparov was on Fox News Channel, and he said something about Putin to Alan Combs and other ignoramuses that he had the misfortune to have to discuss some important topics with, to try and explain to people what Putin's endgame is. The question of what is Putin trying to win? How does he define winning? And I thought he offered a succinct explanation that I don't think is appreciated by this administration. Let's listen to Gary Kasparov.
Putin creates a culture of violence there, and the region is so explosive that he will win. And just imagine, something goes wrong with Israel.
What's he going to win? What's Putin going to win?
Chaos. That's all he needs. Chaos. Total destruction of the world order. American allies, for generations, they are in trouble now, and Obama walks away.
And Gary Kasparov, chess grandmaster turned human rights activist and author, joins us now. Gary, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me.
The book is Winter is Coming, Why Vlad Putin and the Enemies of the Free World Must Be Stopped. That's Gary Kasparov's new book you want to check out. A little hat tip to Game of Thrones there. So expound on that clip that we played where you suggested that Putin's endgame is world chaos.
Yeah, Putin is a dictator for life, and all he cares is to stay in power and to protect his power in Russia. So that's why whatever he does outside of Russia still has, the predominantly his domestic audience as a target, because dictator cannot afford to show any weakness. And since Russian economy is in terrible shape and there's nothing to brag about domestically, Putin has been looking increasingly for foreign opportunities to present himself as the white knight defending Mother Russia against endless enemies.
So as Obama has, his failure to assert his power has led the rise and has empowered Putin, so to speak?
Indirectly, yes, because the weakness of the opposition, in this case, the weakness and indecisiveness of the free world, gives Putin sort of extra argument back home. I believe that Putin spent hours in front of the mirror rehearsing this reluctant handshake that he gave to Obama in New York, because that was trumpeted on Russian television, Russian media, as, the demonstration that Putin the Great, could defy Obama even in the belly of the beast in New York.
Well, we just appreciated that he kept his shirt on for that handshake. But but President Obama, when he did his 60 Minutes interview with Steve Kroft recently, and Kroft pressed him, Mr. President, Vlad Putin is challenging you. And President Obama bristled. How is he challenging me? They have a weak economy and propping up Assad. They need to do all that they're doing now in terms of military support to prop up Assad. How is Putin winning? It seems to me that President Obama doesn't understand what you just described, that Putin's endgame is to break down institutions of Western institutions of peace like NATO.
Absolutely, because dictators' best chance is to create chaos. If we use chess analogy, dictator is much better in tactics because, the short-term calculations, and he doesn't have to go to the parliament, he doesn't care about the press, public opinion, he could react immediately. The strength of the free world is strategy. It's a long-term strategy because we're relying on institutions. And it seems to me that Obama administration has been undermining the strengths of the free world institutions, and especially when we look at the Middle East, this administration betrayed long-term allies, and it will not be easy to recover the trust.
What about Russia's relationship with Syria, and particularly Putin and Assad? Tell me more about their relationship and what he hopes to accomplish by, putting fighter jets and troops on the ground in Syria.
Oh, I think Putin's adventure in Syria is multidimensional. I mean, one, I think it's psychology. He cannot afford another dictator to go down, and he saw what's happened with Gaddafi and other dictators throughout Arab Spring, and he believes that he must protect Assad. It's important psychologically not to demonstrate his weakness or back to Moscow. But also, he's looking for Middle East as a great opportunity to create havoc in the modern world, because it's a main supplier of oil. And while, Iraq is one part of the picture, but there's also Saudi Arabia not far away. Of course, Israel is not far away. And it's not hard to imagine how the Syrian civil war could actually spread around and to create sort of a massive, war all against all in the region. And of course, another, extra advantage for Putin, it's flood of refugees heading to Europe, because more refugees arriving in European countries, more political ground is gained by the ultra-nationalist groups like Marine Le Pen in France or others in Europe, who are Putin's allies and who are being financed by Putin. So if they gain power in Europe, or at least they have more voice in European affairs, there's a good chance that they can help Putin to lift European sanctions.
What should we make of the recent Polish elections, where Poland seemed to move in a conservative, but not necessarily Le Pen-esque direction?
I was in Poland a few days ago, and I was quite confused, because Polish economy was doing great. The people were quite satisfied with their lives. So, it was hard to imagine such a crushing defeat of the ruling party when everything looked really good. I think that the foreign policy, and especially the Putin's factor, played a role, plus, of course, immigrants, and it played into the hands of the opposition. And it ended up basically with Polish parliament with no left-wing groups. You have either center-right or a right-wing government. From the perspective of Polish policy vis-à-vis Russia, I don't think we'll see much of a change. But there will be, of course, a change in the relations of Poland with the European Union, because this government is kind of a Eurosceptic.
I wanted to ask you about the refugees over the weekend. We had 13,000 travel from the Croatian border into Slovenia. Their end game is hopefully to get to Germany. Some want to get to Finland. Where are these people going to live? What kind of jobs are they going to have? And how is that going to affect, Germans that already have solid jobs? Are they taking jobs away from them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I just want to point out that according to Human Rights Watch reports, Putin's bombings in Syria created at least 80,000 new refugees, maybe even more than 100,000. So you have more and more people, fleeing from Russian bombs, and naturally they'll go to Turkey and I'll try to reach European shores. It's a huge pressure for every European country, especially for Chancellor Merkel, because she's de facto the leader of Europe, and she has no other choice but to try to sort of bring these people in. The only good news, if you may call it a good news, most of these people that are running away from Assad and from the civil war in Syria, it's a Syrian Middle East middle class. They are qualified. They could have jobs, but of course, if they are located in Germany, they will be taking jobs from Germans, and it may also change the political balance in Germany and create extra tension. That's exactly what Putin is looking for.
As somebody who's pretty good at anticipating an opponent's move, what do you expect Putin's next move is going to be if he can stabilize Assad in Syria? He's obviously got a lot of interest in Iran. He's got interest in China, but he's also pursuing this revanchism strategy as well. So where do you think the next Putin challenge will present itself?
No, I'm not sure you should use the word stabilize, talking about Putin's.
Okay.
I think his goal is to put a Middle East ablaze, and I think his dream is to push ISIS And also, let's remember, he's not bombing ISIS. These 90% plus of his bombs are dropped on American-backed rebels. I think he's dreaming about pushing ISIS down south to create problems in Saudi Arabia, because Putin badly needs high oil prices. With oil, below 50, he will be bankrupt within next maximum 2 years, probably even sooner. So that's why only explosions in Saudi Arabia, having Sunnis versus Sunnis war there, could help him to push these oil prices up. Now, if you want to know about Putin's plans, simply look at his budget. He's experiencing shortage of cash, but he's propping up his military. He's spending more money on security apparatus in Russia and on propaganda. This is the war budget. So that's why we could expect Putin's troops, Putin's military jets, Putin's military ships appear anywhere. So I would not be surprised to see them soon in Benghazi. That's another ideal location for Putin's adventures. It has plenty of oil, it has deep sea port, and it has total chaos.
Interesting. Always insightful stuff from Gary Kasparov, much better than Anatoly Karpov would give us. Yeah. His new book, Winter is Coming, Why Vlad Putin and the Enemies of the Free World Must Be Stopped. Gary Kasparov, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You will lose. I must break you.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Just a damp, gray start to our day. We're going to have clouds, rain on and off throughout the morning, then a shower this afternoon, a high of 57 degrees. Tonight, evening showers in spots, otherwise windy, cool, highs in the mid-30s. Lows in the mid-30s. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, no rain, but it will be windy and brisk, a high of 52. Let's get the travel times and say hello to a very busy man this morning. Here's Jim Talamonte. Jim is so busy that he's missing.
Sorry, Amy, here we are.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Jim.
My mistake. Missed a button. On Metra's BNSF line, everything's still shut down in Hinsdale after a train-car collision. Huge delays on that line. Also on the outbound Eisenhower. Just a mess. Cicero to York Road, 2 right lanes still blocked after an early morning rollover. It's an hour and 50 minutes downtown to Thorndale, in about an hour and 10 minutes. The Kennedy is now an hour and a half. O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour and 5 minutes. Eden's 45 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 35 minutes. The Stevenson, an hour and 20 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95 to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jam. Bryn Mawr to Fullerton, where a crash just cleared. It's 45 minutes, Hollywood to Monroe. Tollways all very heavy. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
You've heard me rave some more about MyPillow. Even some girls on my volleyball team say, hey, Coach Jacobson, can I get a MyPillow? I love it, and I promote it because it helps me sleep better at night. No more tossing and turning. If you have insomnia, snoring, headaches, neck pain, you should get a MyPillow. And not only we here at AM 560 use the MyPillow, but a lot of our listeners use it as well. Here's Sam, who was a little skeptical at first.
When it came, I was really skeptical as it being as good as it was advertised to be, because it's advertised quite a bit. I gave it a try that night, and I thought, looking at it, was just another one of these gimmicky pillows that I didn't expect it to be any better or worse than other pillows I've tried. But that first night of sleeping with MyPillow, it was so much better than I expected. And I've got a closet full of pillows, so I had quite a few to compare it to.
And he is a true believer. So if you want a MyPillow, and if you want to be happy just like Sam and get a good night's sleep, then go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, 2 pillows for the price of 1. Or call this number, 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. MyPillow, American-made and the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
If you could choose any school from which to earn your college degree and be on your way to a better life, would you choose a school the Wall Street Journal recognized for producing some of the best qualified graduates? One the Princeton Review ranked as a leader in undergraduate education? And one U.S. News & World Report named #1 in the nation for innovation ahead of both MIT and Stanford? Discover why Arizona State University is a clear choice for your future. In addition, ASU Online offers over 100 graduate and undergraduate programs you can take 100% online and on your schedule. You'll receive the exact same curriculum, degree, and prestigious faculty as our on-campus students. For information, call 1-800-720-2358. U.S. News & World Report also ranked ASU in the top 10 best places to earn an online degree. So get started today and learn to thrive with Arizona State University online. Call today at 1-800-720-2358. That's 1-800-720-2358.
Attention market watchers. Until recently, the market hadn't seen back-to-back days of 500-point losses since November of 2008. What if you had no market exposure? What if you didn't have to worry about the markets? How would you sleep? Leave the volatility behind. Hi, this is Jack Taboda. Our proprietary income strategies provide reliable, inflation-protected income, guaranteed for life, with no market exposure. Call me at 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. You've worked hard to build your wealth. I work hard to protect it. 630-777-7955.
Insurance products may be presented and guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company represented. Securities offered through Pro Equities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Harvest Investment Services LLC, a registered investment advisor. Taboda and Associates and Harvest Investment Services LLC are independent of Pro Equities Inc.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. In the brave new world of big data, sometimes we forget that politics is about people's lives. When we forget this fundamental truth, people without political clout get hurt, and all of us suffer a loss of dignity in the process. And so the number for your consideration in this installment of Illinois by the Numbers is 47. 47th is where Illinois ranks nationally in the provision of services to persons with developmental disabilities. Providing or not providing for those who need state support through no fault of their own is a mirror that reflects our humanity, our moral health. The result is families who have a family member with a developmental disability have fled Illinois just as entrepreneurs have to live in, well, more civilized states. This is happening on our watch. As an Illinois resident, this is happening on my watch. We are all culpable, and now none of us can any longer pretend not to know. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Time is running out. Purchase your tickets to Freedom Summit 2015, taking place on Saturday, November 14th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. The lineup includes, are you ready? I got my starting six.
Yeah,
Ann Coulter.
Oh, yeah, I'll be plying Ann Coulter with orange juice. You got to keep her blood sugar up.
Okay. Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your buddy.
Mixed martial arts.
He likes you.
Hugh Hewitt will be there. KT McFarland, Guy Benson, and Katie Pavlich. Visit freedomsummitchicago.com for more information. And right now, win tickets by being caller number
4.
Caller number 4 to 312-642-5600. Caller number 4 will win free tickets to Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, taking place in Itasca on November 14th. Mark it down. Get your tickets now. This event will sell out. freedomsummitchicago.com.
Chicago, talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Sam Gilberto, president of American Embroidery and Screen Printing and American Marketing Products. We specialize in putting your logo on just about anything. Our focus is entirely on you, our customer. We want every customer experience to be outstanding. American Embroidery and Screen Printing is a brick-and-mortar business located in Glendale Heights. Our equipment and manufacturing processes are state-of-the-art, so are the people who work here. With over 40 years' experience, we have the capability, capacity, and know-how to get your job done right and on time. I want to earn your business, so for a limited time, we're offering free artwork on embroidery and screen printing orders for all new customers. Let us help you gear up for that big trade show, provide shirts or jackets for all your employees, students, or church members, or simply provide you with giveaway items such as coffee mugs, pens, or hats. Whatever it is, you can trust an American to take care of it. It's easy to contact us. TrustInAmerican.com. That's TrustInAmerican.com, or call at 630-766-2825.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com wants you to take some time for yourself to relax, renew, and recharge. And here's the perfect way to lower your stress level and bring your balance to life. Make a visit to the Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange. Your stress begins to disappear. When you step into the pink Himalayan salt cave or float on a bed of water that envelops you in color and warmth. Make time for deep relaxation in the Aqua Massage Bed or feel renewed with the Ionic Detox Foot Bath. Have you ever tried one of those? Those are good. Experience it all now with packages.
No, but I like the harp music.
Thank you. That's what it sounds like when you step into the pink Himalayan salt cave.
Oh, lovely.
An Ionic Detox Foot Bath and Stress Relief Package, normally $65 to $70, only $40 at CRD. Primal Ocean Salt Cave Spa Treatments are a great way to take a vacation from the everyday.
Can we do our show there?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Plus,
Wouldn't that be good?
Listen to this, Dan. You can stay fully clothed and dry the entire time.
But you don't have to.
You'll love how calm and refreshed you will feel. If you haven't tried this yet, do it now. The Primal Ocean Salt deals are very limited. For more healthy deals, just visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
It's that time of year. There's going to be a lot that scares you. Replacing your windows shouldn't be one of them. Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1, plus no money down and no interest until 2017. Say goodbye to high heating bills with energy-efficient windows from Feldco. Hurry, this treat and 2 windows for the price of 1 ends Saturday. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Here are the stories we're watching this morning. A former Speaker of the House expected to plead guilty in a federal case today at the Dirksen Federal Building. Business news, Walgreens is buying Rite Aid. Rainy day ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Do our kids have a math problem? There's a new report card out, and Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers details it live.
The 2015 Nations Report Card says only about a third of the nation's 8th graders were at proficient or above in math and reading, slipping over the last 2 years. Among 4th graders, the results slightly better. About 2 in 5 scored proficient or better. The report also found a continuing achievement gap between white and black students. One of the bright spots, Washington, D.C. and Mississippi both saw substantial gains in reading and math, Dave.
Tanya, Donald Trump's in unfamiliar territory going into tonight's presidential debate, no longer topping all the polls.
Now, until Iowa came along, I said every poll. And then Iowa came. What the hell are you people doing to me?
That was Trump in Sioux City. Tonight, he'll be face-to-face with Ben Carson and his rivals in Boulder, Colorado, where Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern is live.
Donald Trump has been dumbfounded by that recent polling, showing him now behind retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson, winning conservative appeal with a soft-spoken manner. Trump has sharpened attacks on Carson. The doctor says he won't sling mud. Then there's that new Florida riff, former Governor Jeb Bush comparing first-term Senator Marco Rubio to President Obama. And here in Colorado, candidates are always asked about marijuana. The state has legalized it. That's a source of contention between libertarian-leaning Rand Paul and former U.S. prosecutor Chris Christie. Dave.
Jared, the House will vote today on a 2-year budget bill. Republican leaders worked out with the White House.
There's a lot of skepticism on both sides of the aisle about this bill. Some from farm state lawmakers who don't like how they've handled crop insurance in this. That is a non-starter. You also have people having trouble with how much money is actually saved in the bill.
Fox's Chad Pergam says more Democrats than Republicans might support it. Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert has arrived in federal court in Chicago to plead guilty in the hush money case. Hastert funneled a lot of cash to someone to keep him quiet about past misconduct, and he's charged with trying to hide those big payments and lying to investigators about it. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 55 degrees this morning. Winds out of the south at 10. I'm Mike Scott on AM 560, The Answer. A hearing in Chicago federal court today will be the 73-year-old Republican Dennis Hastert's first court appearance, and since entering an initial plea of not guilty in June in his hush money case, an expected guilty plea today by the former U.S. Speaker is accusing him of agreeing to pay $3.5 million to someone referred to only as individual A to hide past misconduct. Hastert's court appearance today will continue throughout the morning, and we'll provide updates for you on developments from Chicago's Loop throughout the day. Also in Chicago, Mayor Emanuel's budget, which has undergone a microscopic comb-through over the past 2 weeks, is set to be voted on. Its giant property tax increase, its number one impediment, as AM 560's David Stewart reports.
Mayor Emanuel has worked to secure as many votes as possible, listening more closely than usual to aldermen's suggestions and complaints. He justifies the large tax hike by saying it's the first time in decades that the real cost of government is being addressed.
And I make no bones that a budget that finally confronts our challenges rather than kick the can down the road is a tough budget.
On top of higher property taxes, the budget institutes a first-ever fee for trash pickup and raises a number of other taxes and fees. David Stewart, Chicago.
Emmanuel says his plan is a step toward righting bad financial practices of the past. Walgreens buying one of its biggest rivals. The Deerfield-based company announcing they've agreed to acquire Rite Aid for just over $17 billion. Game 1 of the World Series goes to the Royals over the Mets, 5-4. And the Bulls were winners over the Cavaliers in NBA season Game 1, 97-95. The news service of Unbound. Ever wonder where your charitable donations are really going? At Unbound, you'll know who you're helping and what impact your support is having. Learn more at unbound.org. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Hank Weinblum.
From the Fox Business Network, it's tough being Apple, posting record quarterly earnings, selling 48 million iPhones. But analysts still say, well, we were expecting a little more than that. The analysts also say, yeah, everybody's buying iPhones, especially in China, but eventually sales demand will slow down. Not yet, apparently. Stock futures are on the upside. This afternoon, the Fed wraps up its two-day meeting with a decision about interest rates. Budweiser and Miller not quite ready to clink beer bottles to congratulate themselves on their merger. The proposed deal where Anheuser-Busch InBev buys SAB Miller has been pushed back by at least a week while the two companies work out more details. Super Mario, super sales. Nintendo posting a $26 million quarterly profit. One of the reasons, a new Super Mario game where you get to set your own levels, and a new game called Animal Crossing. And demand for candy is weak? Hershey's is reporting a 31% drop in quarterly profits. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Hank Weinblum.
How can that be on National Chocolate Day? 8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
One event. One day only. One day only. With all of these names together. Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, KT McFarland, Katie Pavlich, and Guy Benson. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2015, November 14th in Itasca. Tickets begin at just $29 and are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Don't miss this exclusive event. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Leader Pharmacy.
It's the Yellow Tag event, and now is the time to find your ultimate adventure. Whether it's a Can-Am ATV, side-by-side, Can-Am Spyder, or Ski-Doo snowmobile, you can turn up the excitement for any season with our industry-leading performance and technology. Hurry in by October 31st and save up to $3,000 on select 2015 models and get up to a 3-year warranty. Visit Dockside Marine in Wilmington. Restrictions may apply. See your dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
It's 8:06, and in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Metro trains are running on the BNSF line, but with some delays after a train-car collision in Hinsdale. Eden's inbound is 45 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Kennedy, it is now an hour and a half from O'Hare to downtown. The Blaze started Cumberland. Express lanes save about 8 minutes, outbound an hour and 5 minutes downtown to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 10 minutes Thorndale to down, but outbound. It is just a mess from Cicero to York Road. 2 right lanes have been blocked most of the morning after an early morning crash. It is an hour and 50 minutes downtown to Thorndale, an hour 10 just to Manheim. Stevenson, an hour and 20 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, brutal from Bryn Mawr to Fullerton after a crash. Northbound slow from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State southbound heavy Washington to 176. Northbound stop and go Cicero to 31st. The Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway slow Barrington to Meacham, and from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee. Northbound Veterans Memorial very slow from I-55 most of the way up to 290, and southbound 53 is jammed Lake Cook to Kirchhoff after an earlier crash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy today with wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Occasional morning rain and drizzle, followed by an afternoon shower. High 57. Then an evening shower in spots, otherwise mostly cloudy and windy tonight with gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Low of 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
54 with drizzle at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
An FBI investigation is underway right now after allegations of excessive force and racial bias. And the officer who slammed the 16-year-old girl to the floor and dragged her across the room could find out today if he'll lose his job.
The president watched the Bulls win by 2 tonight, but basketball definitely not the only reason he's in town.
It doesn't mean each case is a problem. It means that when you aggregate all the cases and you look at it, you've got to say that there's some racial bias in the system.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
What is happening? Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So
tonight's a big night.
Yeah, 7 o'clock Chicago time. That's where the 10 candidates will be featured. This is on CNBC, taking place at University of Colorado at Boulder, the Buffaloes. The network will also feature the JV debate with Jindal, Santorum, Graham, and Pataki again. So same lineup as the last debate and broken out into 2 debates.
But no Perry.
No Walker.
He go bye-bye.
Yeah,
no Walker.
Walker gone. Jim Gilmore apparently will just continue live tweeting his presidential campaign.
That's right.
Speaking of live tweeting, and the pregame show, the pre-debate show here, no pre-debate show is complete without our friend Ed Henry, of course, senior White House correspondent for Fox News. Ed, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you guys. I'm in New Hampshire heading to a Hillary Clinton campaign event, so eager to talk to you about politics.
All right. And by the way, I just have to say, and you don't have to comment on this, you are a superior tweeter to John Harwood, who will be moderating tonight's debate. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I want to ask first question. Marco Rubio just posted a video where he answers some kind of pop culture type questions. He said, and I'm not taking this out of context. I'm not.
I'm worried now. Okay,
I'm not projecting onto him
You're teasing
my opinion.
Me. Yes.
He said his favorite television show is Ballers. Now, Ed, such a catastrophic error in judgment, do you think it disqualifies him for the presidency?
You know what? It disqualifies me for something because I don't even know what the show is.
I don't even know what it is either. Ed, you're in
Marco
good company.
Rubio is more hip than I am, and no offense to Marco Rubio, but I should be hipper than a senator, right? Those guys are usually not at the cutting edge. What is this show?
It's a show where Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he plays like a retired athlete turned sports agent. It's unwatchable.
What network is it on? Oxygen Network?
Exactly. How can you
the
not?
Hallmark Channel?
How can you not say Homeland? How can you not say Fargo? So, Ed, we were just talking to Steve Moore.
House of Cards.
What's that?
House of Cards,
House
right?
of Cards, sure. Yeah. We were just talking to Steve Moore last hour from the Heritage Foundation, and he suggested that the first question that should be asked tonight is, where do you stand on that House Republican budget deal? We've already heard from a couple candidates, Rand Paul and Marco Rubio, opposed to it. Where do you think would be the most beneficial area to go in terms of providing contrast between the candidates?
Well, here's what I think. I think it's an easy one for candidates on the stage tonight. While yes, Steve Moore is right, it's a good question. It's an easy one for everyone on the stage to beat up Washington by saying, this is a terrible deal. There's more spending, and there is. There's billions and more spending. They kick the can down the road. There's minor changes on Medicare and Social Security. There's tweaks here and there, but nobody really wants to make the hard choices in Washington in either party. I mean, that's the real problem, and I bet Steve Moore would tell you that. And so I think what we're going to see is a lot of folks, like Rand Paul is trying to go even further by saying he'll lead a filibuster against this deal. It's so bad. And frankly, I think that's because it's his last gasp. I mean, many people think he's so he figures I'll get some attention out of that. Right. So what I think would be the interesting move tonight is who on that stage will defend this deal? Who on this stage will say, look, there are no good options right now. And Speaker Boehner on the way out the door is just trying to make sure that we don't default on our debt. Who's going to be the statesman in this field? Was it a moment for Jeb Bush to say, I know it's easy, and Donald Trump and Ben Carson and the outsiders and Rand Paul, they're all going to beat this up. But you know what? As a leader, you got to make tough choices. Is this a moment for Jeb Bush?
And speaking of Jeb Bush, how important is tonight's debate to the future of his campaign?
You know, I hesitate to say, boy, this is the critical debate, because I think before the Fox debate, before the CNN debate, and now before the CNBC debate, I've heard many of the same pundits say, boy, Jeb Bush really has to turn around. But you know what? Sometimes pundits are right. Jeb Bush really has to turn it around. I mean, after every debate, practically, his numbers have gone down. Started out as the front runner, and depending on which poll you look at, across the board, whether it's 6%, 8%, he's in single digits. He's no longer the front runner. But I think personally, I think he may be in better shape than many pundits believe, in the sense that there's always this flirtation. And there's an op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal this morning. The Republican Party always flirts with outsiders, political novices, and eventually come back to somebody with a lot of experience. I think that means that there's an opportunity for Jeb Bush, but I think that window is closing. And I think the biggest fear for someone like Jeb Bush is he might start turning it around in the next few weeks, and it may just be too late. And someone like Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, who appear to me to be running better campaigns, might actually fill the void that Jeb Bush has left. And so if Trump and or Carson fade at all, I think that vacuum might be filled by a Rubio or a Cruz and not a Bush.
Which is why this is an important night for Rubio, too. I know people are focused on Carson because of his newfound frontrunner status, or Jeb because of his flailing campaign. But Marco Rubio is auditioning to be the establishment candidate, and he's going to have to prove up tonight. You've got Jeb comparing him, saying he's the GOP's Obama. You've got New Republic saying he's the GOP's John Edwards. I don't know why they're comparing him to all these Democrats, but But Rubio has a prove up too. He can't just kind of give the kind of color by numbers rhetoric that he's been giving.
Right, and I think a lot of people have made much about, boy, pick your candidate. They've got to really stand up to Donald Trump, and maybe that's still the case. But I think what you're pointing out is something very interesting, which is that many people thought Marco Rubio would not come into this race at all because Jeb Bush was seen as kind of a mentor to him. It would be a shock to him if he got in the race. And he obviously decided, you know what, I'm going to run on my own. I'm my own guy, and I'm going to do it. And he's actually doing better than Jeb Bush. So it's kind of worked out for him. Is there a moment for him tonight to really, instead of training his fire, Marco Rubio, on Donald Trump, to go after Jeb Bush a little bit and have some separation there and say, look, I respect you, I admire you, I work with you, but is there a way to pivot and say, for you to call me the GOP Obama, you should apologize, or you should be or whatever the moment is. We see these in debates, but to say, look, I've always shown you respect. But for you to compare me to President Obama, that it could be a moment for him to then say, look, I'm the one who's going to fill the establishment void here, not Jeb Bush. And I also think another interesting point, the previous debates, you had other people like Jeb Bush standing next to Donald Trump because they were higher in the polls. My understanding is tonight CNBC is going to have Marco Rubio on one side of Donald Trump. So he moves up in stature and opportunity, but also he could be in the fire a little bit more because Donald Trump doesn't hesitate to beat up on the other candidates. So he's going to be a lot closer to the fire tonight, and he better bring his A game, Marco Rubio.
Who do you think Donald Trump is going to attack first? I mean, Ben Carson to his right, or Marco Rubio's to his left? Ben Carson?
Yeah, I think Ben Carson, because he's been doing it, number one, Donald Trump. And number two, Trump tried to sort of slough this off at first. Oh, there's one poll in Iowa that says I'm falling behind. I mean, I've lost count. There's at least three of them, maybe more, that have said he's falling behind. And then in the national polls, yes, Donald Trump is still doing very well. But there are some of the national polls that are starting to show just a slight bit of dipping for Donald Trump. So, look, I'm not bashing him. He's still in the lead, I think, definitely nationally. And we'll see whether some of these polls in Iowa are off. But the bottom line is Ben Carson has had a surge. There's no denying that. And so if you're Donald Trump, he tends to go after the person who is the biggest threat to him. It's obviously worked for him in business, and he's trying to make it work in politics.
We're talking to Ed Henry, senior White House correspondent for Fox News. And Ed, as somebody who's been on the trail and stays on the trail, as Carson has surged, Carly has receded. Where did Carly Fiorina go? What kind of campaign is she running? Is this an opportunity for her to try and resuscitate her campaign with another strong performance, or is that too little, too late?
No, I mean, I think, back to my other point about, everybody can overstate some of these debates. It's important, but it's not the end of the world. But if you're somebody like Carly Fiorina, who we haven't really heard from much in recent weeks, if you don't make a statement tonight, if you don't get in there the way she did at that first Fox debate, where she really got on the map and then got her to the primetime stage on CNN for the second debate. You're going to start running out of money, frankly, and that's why a lot of these folks are on the bubble, because if you don't make it, your donors start saying, you're just not breaking through, and it becomes a very frustrating process for some of these candidates, because they're saying, well, I didn't get called on enough, or I didn't, I'm down at the end, I'm not next to Donald Trump. And you got to make your own moment in these debates. I mean, we haven't mentioned Chris Christie. He entered this campaign as, he's a leader and he's somebody who's succeeded in a blue state. He might have a tough time in Iowa, but boy, he could really win New Hampshire, and he struggled. John Kasich, a governor with a real record. He's cut taxes. He's balanced the budget. He's got experience in Washington, experience as a governor. He's not doing very much either. So for a lot of these folks, each debate, it's sort of survival of the fittest. And I think Fox Business, by the way, I should get a plug, has, as you know, the next debate in a couple of weeks in Milwaukee. And I suspect that maybe there'll be, there's a good chance based on what happens tonight that there might be a couple less people by the time the Fox Business debate rolls around, because some folks are just going to start running out of money and running out of time.
Ed, before we let you go to get on to cover your press conference with your event with Hillary Clinton, how's your relationship going with Hillary?
Oh, we're getting along great. She's with me right now. We're driving in. No,
yeah. Stay behind the rope.
It's been fun. We've gone back and forth at a couple of news conferences. I think we respect each other, and I've got a job to do. She's got a job to do, and she's somebody who's taken a lot of hits early in the campaign. But as you know, the last couple of weeks, she's turned it around. Some of it has been luck, people dropping out of the race, and Democrats seem to be coalescing around her, and other parts that have been real strength on Hillary Clinton's part. Look at the first debate in Vegas. I mean, we're talking about these Republican debates where people have struggled to make their moment and stand out. Hillary Clinton was the clear victor in the first debate. There was no denying that. And I think it woke Democrats up to say, okay, there's a real stature gap there. And that puts pressure, by the way, back to the CNBC debate on Republicans. Who is going to be the person with Hillary Clinton looking more and more likely as nominee? Who's going to be the strongest one to stand up to her? They haven't been able to figure out, what's even the top tier right now, because it's been shuffling so much. They're going to have to get their act together. There's time, obviously. There's still a few months. But Hillary Clinton is sort of, consolidating her lead. There was a poll out of Iowa yesterday. She had a 41-point lead over Bernie Sanders. That doesn't mean it's over, but she's certainly consolidating her lead. Republicans are going to have to get their act together.
Ed, I got to wait for you to ingratiate yourself with Hillary. You probably don't have time to watch Rachel Maddow. She likes Indian food and beer, so maybe you bring a little peace offering.
I'm staying in New Hampshire tonight because she's here tomorrow as well. Maybe I'll bump into her. I'll take her to an Indian restaurant.
Yeah, she'd love it.
Ed Henry,
I appreciate the tip.
Ed Henry, senior White House correspondent for Fox News. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It was great to be with you guys. Thanks.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
312-642-5600, our number. Who will be running tonight's GOP debate, and what, if anything, will you learn? But first, here's your forecast. Today, it's going to be cloudy, just yucky out there, pretty miserable. Rain and drizzle on and off throughout the morning. Then a passing shower this afternoon, a high of 57. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim.
Amy, it's bad everywhere, especially the outbound Ike. An early morning crash at York Road still has 2 right lanes blocked. Just a disaster starting at Cicero. An hour and 50 minutes downtown to Thorndale in about an hour and 10 minutes. Eden's 45 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Kennedy, an hour and 25 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour 10. Stevenson, an hour and 23 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 50 minutes. The Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jammed. Bryn Mawr to Fullerton. On the northbound Tri-State with heavy delays, Cicero to 31st, Reagan to to North Avenue, and Grand to the Bensonville Bridge. Southbound slow, Washington to 176 and Toohey to the Bensonville Bridge. The crash in the left lane. 53 is a mess. Southbound Lake Cook to Kirchhoff, Beesterfield to 355, northbound Gulf Road to Kirchhoff. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
I'm so excited. My carpets still look brand new, all thanks to Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. I'm tired of big box, the yellow truck store for years because they really weren't doing the job. Executive Green is unique because they use a safe, non-toxic solution that won't leave any sticky, chalky residue. What's different? They use their own purified water, not the water from your faucet. But here's another reason to call Executive Green. It's their no-risk guarantee. That's right. Executive Green promises that you won't need to pay if you're not 100% satisfied. And folks, let me tell you, even after 2 months of high traffic volume with the boys and their friends and my beloved cats, my carpet still looks brand new. If you want your carpet to look new again, just like mine, let Executive Green make you and your family 100% satisfied. Call 708-599-5151. That's 708-599-5151. They're locally owned. They've been in business for decades. They're the best. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning, 708-599-5151, or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
Many problems in healthcare today are blamed on the free market. High drug prices, we're told they're due to drug companies free to set their own prices. Insurance premiums on the rise, most place the guilt on insurance companies who have the freedom to price their own products. But the reality is, America doesn't have a free market. Today we live in what philosopher Ayn Rand called a mixed economy, a mixture of freedom and lots of government controls. And healthcare is one of the most controlled industries in America. It's because of this mixed economy that many of today's healthcare problems exist. If you investigate, what you'll find is that it's not freedom, but government regulations that are to blame. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
They're just awesome. I keep telling people because they keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. And then my bad cholesterol was 62, now it's 52. So, and then with my blood work, the doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but everything is just perfect.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The
Answer. Dan and Amy, so what are you looking for or forward to in tonight's debate, particularly among the 10? I wonder if Donald Trump will even participate if Rand Paul is not removed from the stage.
Oh, those two hate each other. And Rand Paul's got to control himself this time. If he wants to get ahead or get his message across, he needs to calm down.
Henry in Lake Forest, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Bush is absolutely right. Rubio is a Republican's version of Obama because, number one, he doesn't show up to do his job in the Senate. He's getting paid a lot of money. He doesn't show up and vote and represent his constituents, which is what Obama did while he was in the Senate and also while he was representative in Illinois. Secondly, Marco Rubio is a total fraud. He can't even speak without reciting memorized speeches. Anybody that's watched these debates knows that everything he's saying is totally memorized and coached. And the reason is because he's a liar. He can't tell the truth that what he really wants to do is open the borders, have unlimited immigration, and basically continue what the Republican establishment wants, which is to basically gut the American country even further than it's already been happened. And thirdly, Marco Rubio is an anchor baby because neither one of his parents were citizens when he was born.
Well, thanks for the call, Henry.
Well, a lot of anger. Well, if you want to, first part of his statement about rehearsed, Carly Fiorina, her lines are pretty rehearsed as well. Yeah. I hope she breaks out from that because I'm starting to memorize them.
No, Carly Fiorina connects dots. She's a thinker. Here, my problem with Rubio, I don't have any anger towards Rubio, but I do have great concern that he's a cut and paste conservative. He's saying some of the right things. Will he stand up under pressure? I have concern.
Well, he did team with Democrats on an immigration overhaul, but
that's not.
And that's
what
a problem. But now he's saying fixing border security comes first, so he's kind of changed his tune.
Bob in the Northwest.
Hence the cut and paste.
Sean from Elmwood Park.
Well, the only ones who aren't rehearsed are Trump and Carson, ironically, 1 and 2.
Right.
But I hope that Trump walks on with a bib and a rattle for Jeb, for Mommy and Daddy. That would be the perfect, hello, how are you? But I'm calling about the Ed Henry thing because I have a real problem with this narrative that keeps being repeated, and it's really propaganda. We can never, listen to me now, never default on the debt. That is a lie. All that stops is 17.5% of new spending. So this is a narrative that government wants to play on your fears. We're going to default, and who are we going to default on the debt to? Ourselves? I decided I'm not going to pay myself back today. How bad is that? It's propaganda and it's nonsense. It's fear-mongering and it's for the illiterate, the economic moron. Stop calling fascists liberal.
All right, Sean, thanks. Quickly, Diane in Buffalo Grove.
Hi, I definitely do support Marco Rubio. You had a caller who you were kind enough not to cut off. Although Marco Rubio, in a conversation, and sometimes he does sound scripted, he is proposing new solutions. He knows how to play well in the sandbox with others.
What's an example of a new solution?
A new solution? Okay. I might not have agreed with all of his tax initiatives that he had, where you get different types of credits for your children and children's education, okay? Because he believes in keeping a family strong and investing in American youth in a certain way, okay?
All right. Thanks for the call, Diane.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you wanted to purchase a home after filing bankruptcy or when your home was foreclosed, you called me and I helped you. When you tried to purchase a home you couldn't afford, you called me and I advised you to purchase a less expensive home. If you want to talk with me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email David at perldavid.com. That's David at perldavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
It's Dan Prof. Gentlemen, when it comes to your health, do you know your numbers? You may know your blood pressure and cholesterol, but do you know your testosterone? I do. Low T Center makes it easy. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and know your results within minutes. If you're a man over 40, and I am, and have noticed a decline in energy, stamina, or libido, you may have low testosterone. Low T makes you feel tired and grumpy. It can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. A Low T Center takes just minutes for results, and services are covered by most health insurance. They even have convenient and flexible hours. So do yourself a favor and just get your levels checked. Call 630-409-4305. That's 630-409-4305. Or go to lowtcenter.com and tell them Dan Prof sent you.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, do we dare?
Hey, whites, get out of Pilsen.
Yeah, and also how to explain to your children why Iowa is undefeated. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello to a man who's never defeated, a big winner, Mike Scott.
56 degrees, cloudy skies, winds out of the south at 10. Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert has arrived at Chicago's Dirksen Federal Building. He's expected to plead guilty in a hush money case there. The House expected today to pass a budget truce in Washington. Both sides who are involved in that truce say it would resolve fights over defense and domestic spending and federal borrowing until early 2017. Also today, House Republicans plan to nominate Congressman Paul Ryan as their new speaker. Federal Reserve wrapping up a two-day meeting today. all but certain to hold off on increasing interest rates from record lows where they have stood since 2008. Germany's Interior Ministry says many Afghans pouring into Germany will be sent back to their homeland. He says Germany and other Western nations have poured millions into developing Afghanistan and sending police and troops to train security there, and Afghan's government is agreeing that citizens should be returned. The president of Ireland will be in Berkeley, California today, planting trees in memory of 6 college students killed when a balcony snapped off an apartment building in June. 5 of those killed were students from Ireland. Mayor Emanuel's 2016 budget, along with its gigantic property tax increase, headed for a vote by the full city council today. Also heading for a vote is the plans for filmmaker George Lucas's proposed narrative museum of art along Lake Michigan. Teachers and the East St. Louis School District are talking again this morning, but there's no signs they're close to a deal to end a month-long teachers' strike that has kept 6,000 students out of class. World Series Game 1, 5 hours long, and the Royals were winners over the Mets, 5-4. Pau Gasol and the Bulls beat the Cavaliers 97-95 last night in the regular season opener for both teams. Derrick Rose had 18. The news, a service of Think It Up, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher wants the left to get real about guns.
Because we know that the shooter in Oregon would have absolutely obeyed the no concealed weapons permit law on campus at Umpqua Community College, right? Of course he would have. He was a good guy. He was just misunderstood. Bunch of damn fools. These people on the left aren't willing to have a serious conversation about guns.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
It's easy to take your commercial HVAC system for granted. It's always there, keeping your building comfortably warm or cool. Until you have a system failure. With another unforgiving Chicago winter just around the corner, now's the time to have a comprehensive review of your mechanical HVAC system. And you don't want just anyone. You want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For over 80 years, Air Comfort has delivered its customers the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as Star Certified by the MSCA, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
It is 8:37 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Like the outbound Eisenhower is jammed, Cicero to York Road, where now one lane instead of two is blocked after an early morning crash. It's an hour and 50 minutes downtown to Thorndale, inbound an hour and 10 minutes. Eden's 45 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Kennedy. Delay starting at Harlem, an hour and 20 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Express lane save 10 to 12 minutes. Outbound, an hour and 16 minutes downtown to O'Hare. The Stevenson, running about an hour and 20 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 50 minutes. The Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound delays, Washington to 176. And also 280 before the Bensonville Bridge with a crash on the left shoulder. Northbound, Cicero to 31st, the Reagan Tollway to pass the Bensonville Bridge. Adams Tollway delays Barrington to Beachman from the Des Plaines Oasis to Manheim. Reagan Tollway from Randall to Eola. And it's also heavy approaching 290. Veterans Memorial stop and go from the Des Plaines River Bridge most of the way to Roosevelt. The Army Trail toll to 290. 53 has delays both ways. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Cloudy, breezy, rain and drizzle throughout this morning, then a shower on the heavier side this afternoon, high 57. 55 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MJ Miller & Company Jewelers. Make a statement this season with a sparkling brooch from MJ Miller at 123 West Main Street in downtown Barrington.
Dan and Amy.
So who are the people in your neighborhood, Dan? Would you be mine?
Well,
Could
like
you be mine?
my friend Willie Wilson, I got no problem with Whitey.
You don't? Well,
No.
and Pilsen, they're not too happy. White people go home, actually. There's a coffee shop, Bow Trust Coffee Roasters. They opened up last summer, and they're excited to become a part of the community.
Oh, boy.
Here's the owner, Rudy Cordero, who, he's happy to come into the neighborhood.
The shop is really supported by the neighborhood and a lot of the individuals that live here.
But the store has
Apparently
been
not the maniac Latin disciples.
But the store has been targeted with anti-gentrification signs 4 times. But the signs have grown increasingly more aggressive. And the last one was downright racially insensitive. It was a poster board with a Chicago flag. And on it, they wrote, with the black Sharpie marker, "White people out of Pilsen. They want them gone."
Signed Rahm Emanuel.
No.
More businesses are always a great opportunity just for neighborhood income, neighborhood growth. And I don't think that Bow Trust Coffee Roasters is a part of a problem.
It's part of a problem for high-priced coffee. Maybe.
Well, gentrification of the neighborhood has been a hot button issue for years.
Ooh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Is that a dog whistle?
Well,
Are you equating gentrification? Are you making that a synonym with white?
Well, Pilsen's going through a transition with more millennials moving into the West Side neighborhood. And it's, Pilsen was once comprised of Western European immigrants and then Eastern European immigrants before the Latinos moved in, or as my family, we call them Latinos because my kids are Latinos. It's a joke.
Chuy Garcia led the charge there.
It's been predominantly Latino for about 50 years, and they don't want to see change, but change is a coming.
I suspect people don't like to be displaced or they don't like change. I don't think that's unusual. I think that happens. It's just tough luck. In a free country, people come and go and things change.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summation. People don't like to be displaced. I mean, they're not being forcibly displaced. People are.
No, but what happens is big developers come in, and there's a group based out of Northbrook, and trust me, they have 29 projects going on in my neighborhood alone.
Oh, my gosh.
Kicking out the poor people, building their things. They're not kicking them out, but they're offering. What they're doing is they're going door to door in any A-frame house in my neighborhood that's not, a McMansion, and offering them cash for their house.
Oh, my, that is, how racist. Wait a second. What? They're saying if you give me this, I'll give you that, and some people are voluntarily entering into those transactions. I mean, that's modern day slavery. That is disgusting. Oh my goodness! I didn't know it was this bad.
It's changing.
And wait a second, then private property rights are then being upheld, so that they can, they go through the process and get the required permits, and then they build some kind of structure that then people voluntarily purchase a unit in or rent it. What the heck? Where have I been? This is terrible.
Well, it's changing the racial makeup of neighborhoods.
Oh, no.
No, and everyone in my neighborhood now is moving to Albany Park, and now they're starting to do all these tear downs in Albany Park, and then next it's going to be Portage Park, and next it's going to be the Polish neighborhood, and the Polish people are not going to take kindly to that.
Then you're going to see Swedes get out signs in your neighborhood.
Well, we used to have a Swedish neighborhood, Andersonville, and now we have Svea's Restaurant, Swedish American Museum, and Simon's Bar. And that's pretty much it because a different group of people moved in there. And
No.
We lost that neighborhood.
Oh, my gosh. Displaced Swedes. Is there anything more tragic than displaced Swedes?
312-642-5600. I feel because I'm a bleeding heart Republican, I feel bad
I think
for the Latinos.
think the term is pansy. I think we learned that from Jeopardy.
I feel bad for the Latinos who have been forced out.
It's a handful of people that I can pick from the neighborhood that, are not open-minded. Are not really looking at the future of what Pilsen could be.
Yeah, those are the elected officials, I presume he's talking about.
So people that are, want to keep Pilsen Latino, keep it Hispanic, they're mad. And what they're doing is, of course, targeting white-owned businesses in the neighborhood because, Bo Trust Coffee Roasters is really bringing in whiteys.
Put that coffee down.
It's for closers.
But I mean,
not for whiteys.
I don't know.
Levine.
Stop it. Chicago police are not, I don't think that they're investigating. I mean, they're aware of the situation, but they're not treating it as if it was a hate crime. Can you imagine if roles were reversed? Get black people out of Pilsen, or what if it said get black people out of Hyde Park? I mean, this would be a national story, but it's okay if they say white people out of Pilsen.
Yeah.
312-642-5600.
So I should put away my markers. I was going to do some get the Irish out of Streeterville signs in my neighborhood. Because the Irish politicians have ruined Chicago.
Damn Irish.
Yeah. But I mean, if there's anything that could be potentially more tragic than a displaced Swede, it would be a displaced
Irish.
I won't use a pejorative. I don't want to commit a hate crime. Tom in Schaumburg.
Is it even possible to commit a hate crime against white people? Where's the FBI? How come they're not investigating?
No, they've got that South Carolina student to investigate. Tom, no, hate crimes. Whites are the oppressors. Tom.
If they put some graffiti on a synagogue, the FBI would be out there with the Secret Service and every other, and Homeland Security, and everybody else would be looking for the SOB that did it. But here it's no big deal.
Tom, thanks for the call. But I mean, look, we're trying to help the downtrodden, like the Gutierrez, like a Jesse Jackson. The people that have been torn asunder by gentrification. All these minority politicians
then I think,
and developers and business owners.
Is it gentrification or is it change? I mean, that's the thing.
Oh, white people are terrible.
Well,
I hate white people.
Where are we going to go?
Look. It's about time we got our comeuppance for our patriarchal oppression, including the women. Tom on South. Oh, Tom left us. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think Bo Trust Coffee Roaster should be shut down, right?
No.
Isn't that? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what should happen. I mean,
He's
I'm
not
still
going anywhere. He's just these signs are popping up on his store and some neighboring stores.
I'm still so stunned by this property sale behavior that's going on. This opening of businesses. What have we become? This is terrible. Steve in Tinley Park. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Dan, first of all, I wanted to say I followed you down the dial. I will follow you to ham radio if I have to.
Thank you.
Second, on the whole comment here with different pockets of different neighborhoods, I think this whole multiculturalism thing is killing us. What happened to assimilation? Everybody just being American. I mean, I come from an Irish background. The only difference I really see myself from anybody else, on Thanksgiving, my family's going to have maybe 2 or 3 different types of potato, and that's about it.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Yeah, don't forget the Jamesons and the coffee, too. I'll tell you, here's the thing that's so shocking to me about this. I mean, other than we all agree that white people are a scourge on Western civilization, but I thought racial healing was the order of the day with the Chicago Democrat president and the Chicago Democrat ballerina and all the Chicago Democrat and Cook County Democrat Pauls that run the county and the city and the state. This is the racial tension is also curious to me.
Well, the owner of the coffee store, real quick, says he welcomes a conversation, and he also says that he does his best to keep coffee prices low.
Hate.
And his cafe is open to everyone.
That's hate. Those are code words. Those are dog whistles. I mean, he's a modern day Klansman.
Yeah,
that's what he is. That coffee. He opened a business in Pilsen. What the hell does he think he's doing? Brian in Lombard.
Hey, I think is this me?
Yep, you're on.
Yeah, sorry.
the most important issue these days in Chicago is the education of kids and improving schools. And isn't integration of a classroom really the greatest correlation between success for students is an integrated classroom?
Yeah,
and I would think this would be helping that.
Thanks for the call, Brian. Well, we don't want integration in Chicago. What are you talking about? Chicago is more segregated than it was versus Brown v. Board, but it's de facto segregation, and that's what a little bit of what you're feeling with this Pilsen push is. John and Carol Stream.
Hey, Amy and Dan, I just want to chide Amy a little bit for being a bleeding heart Republican, otherwise what we call Democrat.
Yes. Thank you for the call, John. Kurt.
Don't use the D word around me, please.
Kurt and Skokie.
I'm a recovering Democrat.
I'm amazed that they're worried about white people leaving because as soon as everyone gets their tax bill, everyone's going to want to leave. So they're not going to have a problem.
Thanks for the call,
That's true,
Kurt.
and then they'll have these developers come by, knock on their door with boatloads of cash and say, if you move out in 1 week, I will give you this amount of money for your land. And then they knock the house down within minutes of purchasing it.
Oh, my
It's
God.
over.
My head is spinning. I mean, the solution clearly is like white city-owned work camps. And then just turn your property, including your businesses, over to, whatever is the dominant ethnicity in the neighborhood. Isn't that the simple solution in the interest of racial harmony?
If you don't calm down, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Lady, I got buddies who died face down in the muck so that you and I could enjoy this family restaurant.
All right, I'm out of here.
Hey, dude, don't go away, man. I'm staying. I'm finishing my coffee. Enjoying my coffee.
Don't miss Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 on November 14th with Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland. Get your tickets at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Cloudy start to the day, rain and drizzle off and on in the morning, then a shower by this afternoon, a high of 57 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. The presidential motorcade will be on the move later this morning. We'll keep an eye on that. It will add to the existing congestion on the outbound Eisenhower. Still a mess from Cicero to York Road, where one right lane is now blocked after an early morning crash. It's an hour and 35 minutes downtown to Thorndale, in about an hour and 10 minutes. Eden's 50 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. Kennedy, an hour and 20 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour 16. Stevenson, an hour and 20 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 55 minutes. Ryan, 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, southbound jammed. Solid. Bryn Mawr to Fullerton. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson, it's slow. Tri-State southbound, stop and go Dempster to before the Bensonville Bridge. Crash on the left shoulder. Northbound still jammed. Cicero to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
If you don't believe me, then listen to some of our listeners who own MyPillows. They love it. Here's Chuck.
I was usually a very tossy-turny kind of sleeper, trying to get comfortable. But once I got to MyPillow, it'll sound strange, but like I said, you put your head down, you're comfortable, and you just go to sleep.
What makes MyPillow so unique, not only the fact that it's American-made, but it conforms to your neck and back and gives you support where you need it most. MyPillow is washable, so it keeps its shape. It helps if you have problems with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, and allergies. And right now, we still have the buy one, get one free offer, so keep one for yourself and give the gift of a great night's sleep. MyPillow.com, type in Amy in the promo code, or call this number, 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201, or online at MyPillow.com.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
It's a great product. The years I was on it for like about 3 years before, and I know that I was not sick at all. And the couple of months that I was off of it, I ended up having a cold, and I haven't had a cold in like all the years that I was on it before. So I'm back on it again, and I don't intend to get off of it again because I've seen the proof in the pudding,
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
You're a small to mid-sized business with 300 to 3,000 employees. You face the same network security challenges as big businesses do, but can't support a big IT investment, leaving your doors open to advanced cyber threats. Barracuda next-generation firewalls provide all the core features of enterprise firewalls and UTMs, but without hidden costs and deployment hurdles, making owning a big business firewall no big deal for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda next-gen firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/firewalls.
It's that time of year. There's going to be a lot that scares you. Replacing your windows shouldn't be one of them. Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1, plus no money down and no interest until 2017. Say goodbye to high heating bills with energy-efficient windows from Feldco. Hurry, this treat and 2 windows for the price of 1 ends Saturday. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
What is that racket?
Oh, it's the Iowa fight song. You know what? Right now, and you should jump on board, Dan. There's room for you on the Iowa bandwagon because we might be 12-0 this year. We might have a perfect record because right now we're 7-0. 7-0 in our schedule. 7-0.
You don't say 7-0. This is just so embarrassing. And you're wearing my Jeff Moe warm-up that you gave to me and took back.
I'm wearing it because I'm going to be having to return this soon. I guess tweeting out a picture of you wearing this.
The Moe family weighed in.
Well, a friend of the family weighed in, but we can talk about that tomorrow. So I'm going to wear it every day until I have to give it back. And by the way, my hat's on the way. Making America Great Again.
Yeah.
That thing. But anyway, so this is real quick. There's a spoof video out there how to explain your kids why Iowa is undefeated.
This is not a spoof.
No, this is a man sat down with his 2 boys.
We need to talk.
What's the matter, Daddy?
It's Iowa. They're undefeated.
No!
Yeah.
They scheduled Illinois State and North Texas, and they're non-conference.
I know. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, there's more. And then they explain, well, what's wrong with them? Are these Iowa Hawkeye football players, are they special?
But aren't they in the same conference as Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State?
Son, we talked about super conferences yet?
So is it like when they give the football to sick kids and let them score touchdowns because they feel sorry for them? Yes.
Okay, it is true.
I was explaining Iowa's top 10 ranking, yes.
We haven't played any, top 25 opponents yet.
Do they score a lot of points?
No.
Do they have a championship level defense?
No.
Then how can they be undefeated?
I don't know. I can't name a single player on their team.
It's okay, Daddy. Maybe they'll win the national championship.
Don't you dare say that in my house!
Talk to your kids about an undefeated Iowa before it's too late.
Love you both so much.
Well done.
We do play Maryland, Indiana, Purdue, Minnesota, and Nebraska. So
more videos will be coming.
See Sean Hannity and Coulter, Hugh Hewitt, and KT McFarland at Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th. Tickets on sale at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Are you ready to take your education to the next level? Arizona State University now offers over 90 top-tier degree programs, 100% online. With ASU's highly ranked online programs, you'll earn the same degree as our on-campus students, with the ability to learn wherever you want, whenever you want. Same world-renowned faculty, same leading education, same global recognition from one of the top universities in the world. Call 1-800-581-5369. That's 1-800-581-5369.
I'm Jamie from Sherman Oaks, and I just graduated with my degree from Arizona State University. I chose ASU because I received the quality education I deserve in the major I wanted, all from my home.
Jamie's not the only one to earn a degree from ASU. There are over 90 degree programs offered 100% online from one of the top universities. Now's the time to learn more about earning your degree online from Arizona State University. Call 1-800-581-5369. That's 1-800-581-5369.
We're 7-0. You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content that you won't find anywhere else from those who have operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders offering in-depth insights on the big issues of the day. This week with Kristen McQuarrie from the Tribune. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can also check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising show, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that aren't heard anywhere else. So learn how to change the rules of the game so that they cannot be gamed by the connected against the unconnected. Learn how to unfix systems and institutions that are wired against those who play by the rules. No sacred cows, no punches pulled, all at upstream-ideas.com.
Thank you so much to David Stripling, our technical director, Cesar Perez, the executive producer, and to you for making us a part of your morning. Now let's go back into the newsroom and say hello again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching today. Former Speaker of the House Dennis Hastert has arrived at Chicago's Dirksen Federal Building. He's expected to enter a guilty plea in a hush money case there. We'll have an update on that story for you. Meantime, Mayor Emanuel's 2016 budget, along with that giant property tax increase, is headed to a vote by the full city council today, as is council plans to vote for filmmaker George Lucas's proposed museum along Lake Michigan. Meantime, a Des Plaines man is accused of attacking a CTA train operator, and a Northwest Indiana police chief says an elder.
My friend Tony said the worst part for her dad was between the conviction and the sentencing. That was the worst part. What if Individual A comes forward between now and then? Other victims and tell horror stories.
All right.
Well, I just would want to be sentenced right away. Do we want anybody on Hastert, do you think? What about that former U.S. attorney?
Yeah, I was thinking we had someone.
Patrick. Oh, what was his name?
Pat Collins.
Pat Collins. Yes. He was
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Pat Collins.
Okay.
So it'll be mostly debate, then that, and then I'll keep an eye on the sheriff the resource officer.
Well, we got Coulter, too.
Yeah, we Coulter, and then we have plenty of sound. I'll tell David, too. All right. Hello. How you just doing? Got a guy. What do you think, Dan? Obviously debate.
Yeah.
Breaking down the trace.
Breaking down the trace. What?
The third GOP debate. The trace. You got the deuce. You got the trace.
Uno, dos, trace, deuce. Yeah. Okay. 7-0, 7-0.
We're 7-0. No, I said 7 to.
It's a score. It's not a record. She's completely
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah. It's the fourth quarter.
Guys got in my head, and then it's
fourth quarter of the Mets Royals game.
At least I laughed about it. Hey.
Right, exactly. Kicked a field goal at the gun.
Well, we're 7-0.
Yeah,
Okay. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Who shined and who stunk in the GOP's third debate? We'll have it.
The trace.
The trace. Also known by no one as the trace.
We're back at 5 a.m. 560, The Answer.
Or do you want to preview Coulter or?
Oh, you know what? I messed. We have to
why
do
don't we
that
just
over again.
redo that? Yeah, we can just do that as. I'll just.
Didn't go well, Dan.
Yeah.
Let's try that again. All right. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
The third Republican presidential debate, who shined and who stunk, we'll discuss with Ann Coulter.
Beginning at 5 a.m. 560, The Answer. Awesome. It's all good. We're good.
All right.
Anybody else? Oh, Chaffetz. Keep on him.
Yeah, if we can do something.
Chaffetz.
Koskinen, I suppose. Yeah. Whatever else is in the hopper.
Yep.
All right. See ya.
You want a meeting today, Amy?
Pardon?
You want a meeting today?
Oh, yeah. Are you? Yeah. I like that free fucking food. Did I swear? I didn't mean to.
I hope they get pizza again.
What? Pizza?
Illuminati's.
Oh,
Last
yeah.
time we had Geno's, I think, or something.
Oh.
That's good stuff, right?
I don't care. I like any free stuff. Okay, it's in there. Thank you. Can you hear this bite? You've got to hear this one. Bite. It is classic. It just makes me laugh like nothing else in this world. Okay, hold on. Is it my page? Hold on. Well, I'll be damned. I can't hear it. Oh, let me just move.
Who is it?
The Swedish tower came down. This is not my page. Is that my page? What the hell? Where'd my page go? Oh, here it is. Isn't that, she compared the water tower being down to fucking 9/11.
Jeez. Really?
Oh, that and the neighbor. Where's my neighbor? Where's my neighbor? Oh.